Now,
Okay,
check the channel.
checking now.
Ooh.
Do you reckon I'll be able to get through this stream without like my static audio? And yeah, we are
I
live.
died.
I
We're
can't
live?
believe that's been a problem. It best not happen in future collabs.
We can only hope.
Hmm.
Are we live?
Okay. Yeah, we are live.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome to the next and final video of these Arkham videos. You do have the comment section up to keep tabs on that, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so I don't need to worry about that. Because right now I can't see the comments. Unless I hit a button up here, I can find. But yeah, welcome ladies and gentlemen to Arkham Knight, the final one of the Arkham reviews. And yes, I'm well aware there are Arkham games after this, but of course I go with Arkham Knight logic as this is supposed to be the end game. And I think it literally is because the Suicide Squad is more of the Suicide Squad game is more of a spin-off. And Arkham Shadow and Arkham VR are prequels, right?
Yeah, Arkham VR I believe takes place after City before Night, and then Arkham Shadow takes place after I think it's 6 months after Arkham Origins. So it's another adventure that takes place in early Batman's career.
Right. So once again, this is going to be a bit different because there are many side missions in this game, including Season of Infamy, and then you have the aftermath, which is the Arkham episodes. I don't necessarily have good memory of them aside from the Red Hood one. Spoiler, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Over 7 years old. Okay. I don't know. How old is Arkham Knight now?
11 years old this year.
Okay.
I know. I will say, Lucas, I do have a good memory of the Arkham episode. So if you did want me to talk about them in terms of
fair enough. The only one I can remember is Red Hood really well. Well, there is the Batgirl one, but like that's not really. There are the Easter eggs in Batgirl's DLC is more elements of Arkham Asylum, if you know what that is. So, but aside from that, not much to say. But yeah, so before we get into this, our thoughts on Arkham Knight. My backstory from this game is I actually had to beg my mum to get a PS4 at the time when it came out, just solely to play this game. Well, I eventually got one. Back then I was kind of an idiot because I had to beg one in the shop before I was on my hands and knees. Please.
Well, my story is not nearly as big as that because the reason I ended up getting Arkham Asylum and Arkham City is because obviously I got the Return to Arkham one, so that came with the code for Arkham Knight. The sons of it.
It's also weird. You don't get discs. You have to download one of the games.
Yeah, it was the Arkham Knight Premium Edition that you were able to have in it because it comes with Asylum, City, and Night. Not Origins though.
Of course not.
They do not remaster Origins. But yeah, that's how I managed to get Arkham.
So Night was not a disc, but were the other two discs?
Yeah, Asylum and City were discs. How come?
Is that a question you're going to answer, or is that a question you're asking the people who sent that copy?
I'm asking you.
How should I know?
Wait, did you? I thought you were gonna lead into you had to download one of the Arkham games.
No, I got mine all on disc because I'm nostalgic to the disc. I don't know why, whatever. That's another topic altogether.
Also, quick.
Hello, Hayden.
Hello.
Once again, though, people in the comments, before we get into this, we are going to address the comments after everything because even if you're saying hi, yeah, that's probably the best we're going to do.
If there's another conversation, Adam, if he pops up, he probably will be there. But also an update. For those who watch the Arkham Origin stream, I mentioned I'd failed I'm the Knight. Well, a few days ago, I managed to beat it. So
already?
Yeah, locked in, went through the Firefly sections, went through the Blackgate prison. And honestly, it was the best run I've ever done. I was so happy to finally get that medal. It was so great. I loved it so much.
Right then, I think that's going to cut it short for us. I don't want to go into much. Arkham Origins, I don't think I have any more to say about it, so... yeah, I probably don't. Nothing I forgot to say in the video that I want to say about Origins.
Let me just quickly think. If you do want to look at some comments, you can.
Yeah, hi Darkseid. I'll be trying to get to play with him later on today, so we'll see when I get that. But yeah, let's just go straight into the story then and start off Arkham Knight. Of course, spoiler alert, but we kind of. If people are going to criticize us for spoilers, bear in mind it's been 11 years, so you've had plenty of time to play this game. So that's all I can say. Ready to go into this?
Let's go.
The game starts off, and yes, I am going to do story analysis, guys. So if you don't like that part, I've told you many times, just come back later. The game starts off with, well, the cremation of the Joker, with Frank Sinatra's Under My Skin, burnt by Commissioner Gordon, we find out. And it transitions from his death, and the player gets to literally show us in our face that he dies. And if you play the New Game Plus version, you do see him jump scare you. So after that, we are told by Commissioner Gordon, who now has a more different dye on, that Joker has been killed, and there was no, while when Joker died, the villains didn't seem to do anything. There was no power vacuum, no threat, nothing, and they all wonder why. And I guess in a way we kind of get an explanation why, because it transitions over to a restaurant, Paulie's Diner. Yeah, I see the reference because they highlight the letter and Deanie. I get it.
Ooh, Deanie.
Your static starts now.
Carry on talking. It might.
If you want to go for your camera thing, feel free.
I'm not going off my camera thing again. I've done that way too many times. I want to see if I can play it out. Like, see if it just stops, saving me having to just go off the line.
Yeah, it only appears on my end, though. So, I guess you're just going to wait it out, then?
Yeah, I'm just going to wait it out.
All right. But how long do I have to keep that up until I tell you it's still there, though?
And we'll just see how it goes until we get to a point in the story.
It's going to be very hard to hear you if that's going to keep up, though.
We'll see.
All right. Well, if it goes on too long, just try and restart your camera.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, though. Carrying on with the story, you look around and you're in POV of the cop, who is Officer Owens, I believe.
Yep.
And what you look around and you see some decorations. It's Halloween time, and I like one of the decorations is there's a lot of foreshadowing elements, like Arkham City is here. You've got Henry Adams in the background at the back. But one of my favorite things about it is that you have a little area where there's a scarecrow, 2 ghosts, and a bunch of bats, and that's obviously foreshadowing for certain events and certain characters. If you know the Bat family well, you know who the main villain is, and you know who the 2 ghosts could possibly be, then you can figure all those pieces out. So after that, the cop wants his food, and unfortunately, he's told by, I think that's the person who tells him that he has to do something. I think that's one of the crew from the behind the scenes, really stepping in there to help him.
I don't think so. I think it is a citizen, I believe.
You've still got the static, bear in mind.
Okay.
After that, the guy goes out to see that someone's smoking in the corner, and it turns out to be, well, we don't even know who it was, because apparently it's a trap by Scarecrow, and he sends his fear toxin out on this guy, and then after that, he reveals himself. Finally, he's back, and he's showing his horrifying face. He's got a bomb, and he's going to release a bunch of fear toxin, and he's warning people this is your last warning to get out, or I'm going to blow it sky high. And everyone panics this and leaves the city. And this is the reason why, because in every Arkham game, you have to find some contrived reason for this open world to work. In the first 2 games, it made sense because it was a prison. The third game is the weakest of the 3 excuses because it's Christmas Eve and there's a snowstorm. And the fourth one is at least a bit more believable with a terrorist threat type thing. And your static's still there, in mind. You want to do it now?
In a bit.
And he'll be back. Now, bear in mind, only I can hear the static, and he knows that. And while it's not an issue for you guys, it is an issue for me when we're trying to communicate. So, unfortunately, that's the case. I don't know what the issue is exactly, but we can only hope it gets sorted. I don't know. Maybe I'll try using a different device. I'll try to do something in the future on my end, at least. But of course. There we go. Right. Okay. Sorted. You can speak.
Okay, yeah.
Static is still there, but I'm sure it'll catch up eventually. I hope. For our sake. Imagine if the whole video is you and Static on my end.
God's sake.
Right. Let's see. Pressing on after that terrorist threat, we see some other villains. Two-Face and Harvey, of course, are roaming the streets, killing people, and then it transitions. Only one man can. Tonight, Gotham's relying on one man to save us all. Not
Two-Face and
Nightwing.
Harvey. I just realized you said Two-Face and Harvey.
Yeah.
Two-Face
Two-Face and Penguin.
Two-Face and Penguin.
But yeah, so it's revealed Batman's on top of the way it's revealed though is kind of like the 1989 Batman movie where you have the bat scene in the background and it transitions up, so it's very similar to that. But yeah, he essentially just calls Jack Static Boy Rate. Okay, thanks, Darkseid. But yeah, essentially he's up there and he's diving down and you finally get to play in this new open world and it's amazing. You've got the rain and the effect on the cape is gorgeous.
And the graphics have improved, they're more realistic.
The voice is finally back.
Let's go.
Pray that it lasts. But yeah, after you glide your way through and you do hear some fog chatter about foreshadowing events, we finally get to where we need to be with the commissioner, and he tells us that he has a lead on Scarecrow where he might be. Now, bear in mind, if I miss any details in the story, I'm sure Jack will help me out. But so far, I'm doing pretty well so far. He tells him that Barbara's out. Of course, we know she's not. And, Batman hands over all his communicators to him, and he will be on his way to where the next plot point will be. He rendezvous with Oracle, and they have a more stronger dynamic in this game compared to the other 3 games, which I prefer. I guess is a benefit because they didn't have much chance before, so this is the last chance you're going to get, so take it. So after that, they go to essentially where you're supposed to be, and you reach the safe house in Chinatown. And of course, you rescue a cop on the way, and you introduce to the Batmobile. And it's Tumbler-esque. It's kind of like a mix between the Tumbler and the 1989 Batmobile combined. It's got like got the flair of traditional flair Batmobiles.
I do really like the design for the Arkham for the Batmobile in this game. I do really enjoy it.
Yeah, I can see the fusion of the shoe. And people have complaints with this thing. Okay, story-wise, it makes sense why he has it, given the fact we know what he's going up against later on. So it makes sense why it's here. So that's what it is. The original Arkham Asylum Batmobile I also enjoy. It does it's kind of similar to future of other Batmobiles I've seen, and I like how it's very simplistic. And I like the fact you can get that skin and download it. It doesn't have the weapons, unfortunately, but you can still drive around in free mode after the story. But yeah, so as you carry on and you rescue the thug, and then apparently someone's supposed to pick that thug up on that roof. But okay, that officer on the roof. He drives to where he's supposed to be, and you see Poison Ivy is actually all caged up, and it's revealed this is all set up by Scarecrow. There was also one other thing I don't know if I encountered. Oh yeah, in the chase, I believe. Yeah, this is where he encounters a goon on the way, and he takes a little device from him, and he mentions how he's the one who tells him where Scarecrow is supposed to be, and he says, "If you're lying, I'll break the other one." The other what? And he gets locked up in the GCPD, which will be a running gag on his end for a couple of times until he's able to get knocked out completely, and you have no more chances. It'd be cool if you could knock him out every time. Even if it was a repeat animation, I would still enjoy it.
It is sad how you can only do it once.
Twice, actually. Because one time you punch him, or one time you knock him out physically, and then the other time you scare him.
Oh, yeah, that. But yeah, in terms of knocking out, yeah, you only do it once.
So he comes across Ivy after you experience the great combat in 2 sequences before this. Which I do like the incorporation that they have. One of the new things you can do is you can grab a bait of like a pipe or a bat or something, or some piece of the environment and use it in combat, which I appreciate. Something like Jackie Chan would do, which I appreciate. So you rescue Ivy, and the thug in there is killed by her, and she reveals that Scarecrow had a plan that he wanted all the villains to come together, and I guess it's something a lot of other villains like Sinister Six, you could say, but on a grander scale. And together they would wipe out. The problem is with alliances, of course, Batman films have their own. They don't like working together, and even if it's a temporary alliance, there's going to be some issues. But of course, Ivy's one of the few villains who doesn't want to work with them, so she gets locked up for this. And yeah. But essentially after that, she also reveals that Scarecrow's toxin doesn't affect her, which will be a big plot point later. And I also want to mention that in that scene, that before when Scarecrow is showing up there, he says, "I like familiar yourself with this room," which is also foreshadowing for something later on. And but yeah, Ivy essentially tries to get Batman in vines, but he gets out of it no problem because he's the goddamn Batman. And then after that, he will take Ivy prisoner to the GCPD because she's still a criminal. So in a way, Ivy kind of gets the shaft. You don't essentially get to fight her or anything. She's just essentially captured and then essentially taken away to the GCPD until future plot points.
There was an original. I believe I read there was an original plan where you could like fight Ivy. I think there was an original plan boss fight, but due to some like mechanics in the gardens, but it obviously got cut from the game.
Fair enough. Once we take Ivy outside, we're also introduced to the militia, some of someone's men, and we also hear, "You sure it's him?" and "Unknown," and we'll find out who that is in a few minutes. But yeah, Batman is surprised by this, calls in the bat tank, and is prepared for this because Batman is known as a known preparation guy. Switches tank mode, wipes out the people of non-lethal rounds, and the car can go 100 odd miles an hour on the highway, and also has an electrical static thing if you touch the car. So, but yeah, Batman doesn't kill people. So even if you drive at full speed, they're not dead.
Which is very. I mean, obviously we have our complaints with the Batmobile enough, but you can't tell me that 100 miles an hour driving into a fog, and yeah, he gets electrocuted, and he's still alive. I mean, 100 miles an hour, you're telling me somehow that thug did not die from getting hit by the Batmobile going at max
the arm tank.
Going at max speed. It's crazy. Like I know I know they have to try obviously make sure Batman doesn't kill, but there are still some times where you just gotta wonder it just doesn't work.
There's gonna be a lot of mechanics and issues with this. But we press on and we take Ivy to GCP after some training missions with the tank. We make our way through there after fighting. Now let's go over the tank combat real quick. The tank combat in this game. Well, I'm going to be brief with it because we're going to talk about it later. It's in our brief thoughts about it. I can get used to it. It's fine when you get used to it. That's my brief thoughts. Your brief thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's like you said. It's fine when you get used to it. Like it's like the actual mechanics itself are fine. Like they're alright. It's just
so the tank fight you've got no problem with.
Overall,
like briefly,
like the section we've just had, yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, so the regular drone, they're called drones apparently, but those ones you seem okay with. So yeah, he beats a round of those and takes Ivy to GCPD. And we finally get a proper. Well, you could argue the one in Origins is bigger, but this one seems more safer. If that makes sense. It's got like an underground thing you can store the car in. You can go inside, and the cells are at the first thing you see, which kind of reminds me of. Well, this game came out in 2015, 2016. So in a way, the series known as Gotham would use something very similar to this, because when you go into the GCP in that show, the cells are literally right in where the what's the reception, the main area is, which is kind of a bit of a weird thing to do. Why would you have the cells in the main area? You know.
You never know. It's GCPD.
I guess I can get past it because they had only a brief amount of time to put this all together. But yeah, so Batman, you punch that guy in on your way, and then you secure Ivy, and then we're debuted on a few of our side missions. We have a body that we have to check out. We have Riddler around, and there was a third one. What was the third one?
The firefighters.
Yeah, the firefighters.
Or we can go on with the main story and track Scarecrow. Now, Lucas, question I have for you: what do you start with? Like, I want to know what out of those. Do you go with the main story, or do you pick one of the side missions? And if
I just try to stick. Like, I'm asking myself, if I was Batman, what would I do? And Batman would obviously save the person first, obviously. And then after that, I would think he would do the detective mission last because he sees Riddler as a bigger threat. So he would go do Riddler second and check out, and then do maybe the mystery thing, you could argue, or go after Scarecrow. I'm going to say he would do Pig third.
Like you said, that's how I start. I start with the firefighter because I think also, it gets me ahead of getting all the firefighters. I don't do Riddler because obviously that's the first mission where it's like once you do his challenge, he says you'll see why I need this later. But then when he does his, because Riddler just show up later, when he does his big speech on the boards, it feels a bit, it's not as grand because we know he's got something planned. I feel like it's more mysterious when he announces it and says go and do it. Pig, I'll just do then, and then I will leave Scarecrow for well, not doing Riddler. I do the firefighter, even though we've technically already spoiled it, the body, and then I'd go do Scarecrow.
As for these side missions, do I want to talk about them briefly? Riddler, I'm not going to talk about because he's going to be revealed later on, so I'll probably go more into that point. Yes.
Do you okay? Thing is, though, if we talk about them as we go along, it's a bit like I kind of feel like should we save them till the end?
If you think it's best.
Me then, sorry.
If you think it's best, do you have a list? I don't know if is your list these side missions in timeline order, or just random order?
I just literally just put down the side missions.
All right, fair enough. Then I guess we're just sticking to the main story. Then screw the logical thing to do. All right, then. So continuing on to the main story, if I can remember right. But like I said, if I fuck up the story, I'm sure Jack will correct me. But yeah, so he essentially will be trying to track down Scarecrow. So he's gonna probably go to Oracle next to see if you can see he's got anything.
Yeah, and then he goes Panessa Studios.
Does he?
Yeah, because he has to get on the signal, and then he goes to the tower where the hostage.
Well, yeah, he just have to generate the thing because they try to hack up the signal. So he goes there, but when he goes to Oracle, she's a bit concerned about her dad and all this stuff. But he just disses her off, and that's another thing. Batman acts out of character in this game, which is revealed later on why he does that for two. But there's also another reason why you could argue he's behaving that way. I'm not getting to that as Batman's character. He just have kind of a character bit in this game, more so than Asylum, you could argue. I mean, he does also have it in City, but I think you could debate he's more developed here. It's hard to really say which is the more developed of the two ones. But then you've also got Origins that also develops Batman, so no, which is a good thing. So in a way, he does develop in all four Arkham games. Arkham Asylum, he's always challenged to change. He doesn't change. Arkham City, he's kind of put in a position where he's put to the test. Arkham Origins, he has to develop himself for the story for sake of the future games. And then Arkham Knight, which is this game, you could argue he is kind of put to the test again, in a way.
I personally feel like Origins is really the only one where he goes on a full-on arc.
Well, that's to be expected, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll say that.
Because, he asked to allow the police for the future games to work. So it's kind of... For Joker, though, it's not expected. For Batman, it is. But yeah, so essentially after that, you will hook up the car. That's another thing. The car can, of course, drive on the side of a wall, and it gets an upgrade which has its own grapple thing. The winch I'm fine with, but then it can go to the side of a wall. Okay. If you go to the Batman 1989 movie did something similar to this too, so I guess it's supposed to be a reference of that. Then you can drive on the roofs, and then you go around and you hook up the car, and the car is out of your way for a bit. But you could argue it's a benefit because, oh, thank God, don't draw that car. Because to be fair, the grapple mechanic with the whole grapple glide things, but you could argue is faster. But yeah. And I do like, speaking of the grapple mechanic, I do like the fact that you can really accelerate even farther than you did in previous games because it makes you feel like you can fly, really. Once you get to the power connected, you essentially find out that it's at are Ace Chemicals because you go and rescue a cop, and then he uses the bat scanner to search around and things. And at this point, he gets his new bat suit, which is the armored bat suit, which is a lot of continuity. the reason why he has this suit story wise is because it's a suit that can knock out free up to 5 people in one move. Of course, the other suits can do that too, but in story purposes, this is the only suit that can do that.
I do really like the armored suit. I think it's really cool.
I'm okay with it.
I also think technically, especially since he's going up with enemies, like in the first games, he wasn't particularly going. I mean, yeah, he had the Tiger Guards, but he wasn't particularly going off of like soldiers like straight up that use guns and stuff. Here, it makes a lot more sense with the armor and everything.
Arkham Origins has a similar thing too with the armor, but bear in mind it's an early suit. He doesn't know what to expect. He's trying to play a bit more safe, and you could also argue he's trying to look more intimidating. So the armor is, when you have a more bulky suit, it kind of can be a bit more intimidating than spandex. You could argue. Just saying. But yeah. So after essentially we use the new suit and kick everyone's ass, my thoughts of the suit myself, I don't mind the suit. Of course, it's got the Tony Stark vibe and the armor plates move. It doesn't bother me because it feels like it's a nice blend of armor and also flexibility. Whereas the Dark Knight, it felt more like hockey pads. Joke there, but it felt like the armor was sticking out more, and it felt it felt more jarring to look at. But this, it's a nice blend, nice and smooth. So he beats up the people and then essentially will be told to go raise chemicals. And you can continue on with the main story at this point and go for there. And a lot of stuff happens at these chemicals. And you have 2 ways to get there. Of course, you have your wonderful little car motif, and then you have gliding. But I think personally the best way to get there is by car, because what happens is when you get there by car, you jump out the car and land in front of the cops like a badass. Whereas if you're gliding, you just drop down and it doesn't feel as smooth. So I think it was intended to use the car, which is a lot. Arkham Knight's thing is like, we want to use the car. And that's going to be its big selling point throughout this entire game. So after that introduction, we know there's some workers in there. We've got to rescue them. And of course, that also leads into our next main villain, the Arkham Knight, who essentially blows the bridge and wants revenge on Batman because that's going to be a contrived reason later, but we'll just see how we'll go. Of course, we're not going to get that answer of why he wants revenge, but we'll find out later. He glides over the building, and Batman wants to know what's going on. He finds out who Arkham Knight, his name is what it is, and he's got a huge militia. And that's the thing I have with the Arkham Knight that scratches my head, given that we know who he is. That's never addressed. You can see my problem with it. But yeah, that's because a lot of people bring up a lot of things about the Arkham Knight, but they never really address how the masked man, woman, whatever, was it? Okay, it's an 11-year-old game. I don't care. Well, I'm not gonna say the name, but regardless, you should know who it is. Everyone knew who it was, regardless. But that character, it's a bit scratching your head how they were able to get a militia that big. Whatever. We'll get to that when we get to that. But carrying on, he's got an army, and they are prepared to beat the Batman. Okay. And Arkham Knight will continue to brag how much he knows about Batman and all this stuff, which is another crucial plot point of both foreshadowing and it's also scratching your head about certain things he does. But regardless, after rescuing some of the workers here and there, and you hear some dialogue from the Arkham Knight, but essentially all the Arkham Knight dialogue essentially is just him being bitter and sulky about what happened to him and how much he really knows who Batman is and all that stuff. And that's all he goes on about, and that kind of makes him you could argue boring when he just, especially when you have your suspicions of who it is, because he makes it so flipping. He doesn't even try the game isn't very subtle with it either. But regardless,
it does make him seem a bit, especially the fact that it makes him seem a bit unserious. Like at the beginning, he's all like very, he's all serious, and then when he's like, oh, and what about that? That's it's a little trick, little thing. Like any intimidation this guy had, I'm just like,
it's just essentially dialogue to inform the player. If you have to figure out who this is. Okay.
Anyway, moving on.
The whole point of a mask is to conceal your identity. But if you're giving up clues on who you are, that's kind of defeating the purpose of the mask, isn't it?
It's also a thing when you realize Batman is the world's greatest detective. How did he not realize? I know there's a theory that he knew from the beginning. He was just in denial. But I don't buy it. Like, he's the world's greatest detective. He should have been able to figure
Well,
out.
there are some ways you could work around that, given what's happening with him, you know.
Anyway,
But yeah,
we're,
pressing on with the story. After
we're
essentially
talking
rescuing,
far too much about side stuff. We need to.
well, I'm doing my best, Jim. I'm doing enough to work only half an hour in. But after going around the Ace Chemicals area, you can take different routes and all this stuff. You essentially, the conclusion of it is, I believe the first thing you have to do is the Arkham Knight helicopter fight, and then you get to Scarecrow, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so he, after rescuing the workers, I do, before going on with that, before he rescues the second worker, you can find a vial that says Copperhead on it, which is Copperhead's poison, so nice foreshadowing there. And you could argue
I never
maybe...
knew that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I never knew that.
Oh, you can if you follow. I guess you're going to play Arkham Knight again. But it's kind of... You're supposed to go one way, but if you go back a bit and you look on the table, you see a Copperhead name. But yeah, and you could argue that maybe that Scarecrow had to use some of that to make his new version of his fear toxin. You could argue that. But after rescuing the second worker, you get out and you have to, of course, that's another thing. The Batmobile is also used for different types of puzzles. In this case, you have to kind of pull up an elevator that doesn't work.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that incorporation? First you have the roof thing, then you have the elevator thing, and then later on you have the Riddler stuff.
It's unique, like the fact, obviously using the Batmobile to pull up the elevator. I think it just gets a bit annoying when you have to do stuff like Riddler trophies, and pulling things down is fine, but yeah, like stuff with Riddler trophies, when it's there are some times where it's just like, there was not really any point in using it, in all fairness.
But that's how it is. Riddler is now more the guy who's associated with the Bat car. Okay. Well, why don't you drive it then? Okay. After rescuing the second worker, you have the first, in quotation, boss fight, which essentially is fight a helicopter, which sounds tricky enough, and all Arkham Knight does is criticize you, and that's the thing. Arkham Knight talks he doesn't talk the most. There's one villain who talks more than him, but he's one of the few villains who talks the most. And when he's not talking about revealing who he is, it's mainly trash talking about Batman. And that gets old real quick, you could argue. Like, when he trash talks about Batman, is that a bit old for you?
Yeah, like I said, it just makes him immature. I especially love it when later in the game he says, "Me and you are going to fight. It's going to be hand to hand. It's going to be one-on-one." Yeah.
Fair enough.
Of course.
So, after a few strikes, the helicopter is down, and of course it reveals he was not inside that helicopter. It was remote controlled, which is revealed by Alfred.
Now, where the freak did he go in his previous helicopter, then?
He just got out the helicopter and left it on autopilot. That's what happened. But yeah, he gets out, and you rescue the second worker, and then you finally have to go and go after Scarecrow next, and he's in the central mixing chamber. You fight some goons along the way, and speaking of the goons, you have medics now, which are essentially, if you're not getting me out, you have another enemy on the battlefield that can revive us. So at least the Arkham Knight is smart enough to know that, which I guess is one plus. The medics are okay, and just make sure you knock them out first, and you're fine.
Yeah.
So they're not like a big of a problem. And maybe if you put now, if all the thugs were medics, then it might be a problem. That'd be weird.
And then again, technically they'd be better because you can just go and knock out a bunch of them.
All right. After that, we have sentry turrets in the game, which are kind of annoying, but once you get behind them and use a batarang to pick at them, they're fine.
Yeah.
So at least we have another new mechanic there.
Scarecrow.
Yeah, we get to Scarecrow, knock out some thugs. Scarecrow's taunting, and then he knows that Batman is there. After beating up his thugs and entering the room, Scarecrow gets on his knees and wants to surrender because he believes at this point there's nothing that you can do to stop me. Batman decides to be assaultive with this and grabs Scarecrow by the head and knocks him on the control panel, asking, "How do I shut it down?" Well, you're lucky that the shutting it down didn't have to involve smashing the control panel, Batman. Okay. But of course, Scarecrow's like, "Let me go or she dies," referring to Oracle, and he lets go of Scarecrow, which is a stupid thing to do, and because you have just as much leverage, but whatever. He lets him go, and then he sees that Oracle is taken, and then he realizes, "Oh no, I let Scarecrow go. He got away. Are you really that slow?" So yeah, he traps him in there, and then he's going to try and stop the explosion by reducing the blast, so he just saves chemicals. This feels like a death sequence because of how Alfred and Batman are talking, like it's too do the right thing, all that stuff. But eventually, he puts 3 canisters in, and we hear the last one say, well, the other 2 were saying decreasing, but the other one says increasing by 1,000%, which is where we start to kick in, you know what? And then he turns around and sees Joker. Miss me? And we can all if all of us with a brain know what this is.
We'd be like, how? How is Joker alive? He died.
But of course, since we know what villain this is, well, we can figure it out. But yeah. So after in the hallucination, you see Jim going into the Batcave, which is the studios, and you come across other Jokers that are there.
Which starts off a plot line I'm not particularly a fan of.
It's basically an excuse why Robin can't be involved in this game, because that's the thing. Batman in the Arkham Batman does not like Robin getting involved, and given the fact that of what's to come later, we can understand why, and especially in Arkham City.
He just does not like Tim. I swear down.
Most not that he doesn't like Tim, but given the fact we know what's going to happen,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. I will say also, when you have the little security camera bit at the beginning before you play as Gordon, I really like that bit because it gave off a bit. You know, when you see those videos of like locations if they were abandoned or something, where it's like you've got the security cameras and it's all quiet and it's like abandoned. It gave off like slightly eerie vibes to me, which I really like.
Another thing, it's in POV. You have a POV with Commissioner Gordon. He looks at each cell, and you reveal Henry Adams is there, along with Johnny Charisma, Albert King, and Christina Bell.
Yep, yeah, Christina Bell.
And each of them,
which I will say, out of the three, I would say Johnny Charisma is the most Jokery.
That's the thing, though. Each one of these Jokers has part of the original Joker's personality, aside from Henry Adams, of course. You have Christina Bell has the romantic, in quotation, basically the infatuation of Batman personality part of Joker's brain. Albert King, I question what he's supposed to be, but according to his bio, it's supposed to be he's the most killerest of them. Okay.
No, I think he's like representing Joker's brutality.
But how is Joker brutal?
Have you not seen what he does to people?
I mean, I get the whole thing about the crowbar shit, but that was only one time. And one of the time besides the crowbar thing involved brutality.
Joker is brutal a lot of the time. He kills a lot of his own.
Coming back.
God, well, for the people watching, he kills a lot of his own thugs. Obviously, he tortures people in horrific ways. Like
that's brutality, yeah.
No, but that's the thing, though. Obviously, Joker as actual strength, Joker doesn't stand a chance because obviously, he's not a professional fighter. He can take a lot of hits, but he can't fight. Like, he's not like the most hand-to-hand combat fighter. He will put up a fight, but obviously he won't properly fight back. Albert King, it shows how brutal Joker is. But obviously you're showing it through this big boxer.
Your static's gone.
Yeah. You're showing it through this massive boxer. I think that's pretty cool.
Can you repeat everything you said again, please?
Pardon?
I could ask you to repeat everything you said now you're speaking clearly. But just be brief of it.
I was just saying how obviously it's not physical brutality because Joker was never the best hand-to-hand combat. It's through his brutality, but obviously you're showing it through Albert King, this massive, like, tall boxer. Through that's physical, but you've still got Joker's brutality because of what you do. And then Johnny C.
Well, of course, he's the presentation of the Joker. He's the showman.
Mm.
But yeah, so I do appreciate that they are trying to make it. Well, the plot, you could argue that the plot point, the thing with the Jokers is kind of dull, but at least they try to have some effort that each Joker has a bit of the Joker's personalities in some way. So you kind of have that. So there's some interesting elements with it.
Yeah, there is that, but we'll talk about it when we get to the
Indeed, we
summary of
do.
Arkham
But
Knight.
once again, Jim finally bumps into Batman via jump scare, and he informs him about the bats. Before it killed him, the Joker sent his infected blood to all the cities in the hospitals in Gotham, because that was a plot point in the Arkham City game, and it was revealed that we stopped it all. No, we missed that. We missed some because hospital errors is a thing. Unfortunately, that's a thing. And according to Batman's research, 5 people were affected. If my numbers are right, 5.
Yeah, 5 people were infected, but Henry hasn't showed any of the symptoms.
So yeah, chance for a cure.
And then, but one of the cells, there's 5 cells, but one of them is missing. So Gordon says, "I counted 5. Who's the other cell for?" Batman says, "Don't worry, he'll be here soon."
John
So he
Cena.
knows. So he knows. So obviously you could tell that Batman, knew there was something wrong with him.
Well, he doesn't necessarily reveal who the 5th person is for, and it's trying to confuse the audience that it's the Joker because we see Joker now, and he's actually dead. But of course, we know that's not the case later on. But yeah, so after revealing this information, so at least Gordon knows about the Joker thing, as in the Joker, the whole thing about them in the prison cells. He knows about that. And that's why he's got Robin doing cures, and that's why Robin can't be involved in this game, essentially. But he comes back to reality and sees, essentially, Joker telling him that he knows his name, Bruce. And it's very creepy, might add. And this Joker you cannot physically touch, because it's very, very clearly on that this is an hallucination by the fear toxin. And that's another thing. There are 2 things that work in this game. I don't necessarily think the first one is at play more a lot. It's more of the second thing. There is one thing at play in Batman, which we'll be getting to when it reveals, and the second thing is the fear toxin. And so the whole thing about Joker seeing him is a result of the fear toxin, because Joker is on Batman's mind given the fact the events of Arkham City, and he hasn't let it go.
Also, the stuff that Joker says in this game, because Joker has a lot to say about the other villains in the game. The fact that that's actually what Bruce is thinking makes it all that thing. Like, obviously, you've got Joker there, but that's what Bruce is genuinely thinks. So it is a
Pretty
bit.
Much. That's another reason this Joker is that he's not Joker Prime. Joker Prime essentially is dead. So we are reduced to another contrived reason to get Joker in the game, because they've worried that they didn't think the game would be good enough without Joker. And the fact that you're saying that is kind of ruins the reputation of this game a bit, given the fact it's once again Joker associated. We have a perfect opportunity to get out of the Joker loop, but no, you can't. We can't do it, man. We need Joker.
But does Mark Hamill give us another great performance? Absolutely.
The one downside is Joker doesn't stop talking.
But he does have some of his best lines in the series, I will say.
Yeah, but wasn't there ever a point you wanted to not hear Joker?
I felt like all the points he did show up were at least appropriate. Like, I will admit, there were some times where there was never. Well, sometimes there was never a time where I was like, "Why is Joker here?" The only time it would annoy me is because there was obviously there are some scenes where Joker has a lot more to say, but I already went into the next cutscene, so I cut off that dialogue. That was my only real complaint. Apart from that, I think Joker's appearance in this, thankfully they didn't make it out of thingy. But I think once again it's like what I thought of Joker in Arkham Origins. I love him in this game, but I do wish he, you know, there is a big part of me that wishes he hadn't been in this game. I would have rather him not been in this game more than Knight. And if he was to make an appearance, I'd rather he make like at least 1 or 2 appearances in the game. Like not be a big thing. But anyway, let's get out of it. Let's get out of Ace Chemicals.
Yeah, he drives up, smashes the wall, and then gets the back car out of there. A nice cool explosion. He thinks he's
We're
cured
out
of
of
it.
Ace
Of course,
Chemicals.
yes. He thinks he's cured of it. Of course, he's not cured of it, and he's going to deal with this for the entire main storyline until the finale. So good luck with that. But luckily, we're just going through the main story, so we'll probably get this a bit faster. And I think the fact we're not talking about the side missions is also helping because we're done with the Ace Chemicals now. Batman drives back to GCPD to inform Jim about the developments about Barbara. He's a bit confused because I thought she's out of the city. I don't get it. Batman tries to avoid taking any responsibility for that first and decides to play doo-doo. And I'm like, yeah, just follow me. We'll be fine. So they drive to the clock tower, which is essentially where Oracle is supposed to be. And they get there after fighting some thugs on the way and having some chases. And when you get there, you find the picture on the floor and wheelchair turned over and some Joker hallucination garbage that we just ignore. It's just like, oh, see, this is all your fault, Batman. And yes, we know it is his fault. So is it all his fault? Not entirely, because this is Barbara's choice to do this. So, but some of the blame should be on Batman. So it's a 50-50. So
they also have the photo of Tim and Barbara.
Yeah, they're trying to make them a thing. Do you buy it? No.
To put it simply, I don't like the fact they made Tim and Barbara a couple. It's so weird considering the fact that in a lot of timelines, Barbara is obviously a lot older. And she's normally with Dick Grayson, Nightwing. So I don't know why they couldn't have just made, Dick and Barbara a couple instead of
she's
Tim
normally
and
with
Barbara.
Bruce. Thank you, Bruce Tim.
It was very weird, bro. Like, and because obviously, Batgirl and Nightwing, they've always been a couple. They've always been like a DC couple. So I don't know why they decided to go with Tim for Barbara's.
They wanted to be unique. There's your reason. They wanted an original idea. You can't blame them for originality.
Well, I don't like it.
Of course, no one does. Well, yeah, that's about shipping. Then that is. They can't be a couple. It's my vision. Well, Bruce Tim had a vision. You don't like that either.
Well, Bruce Tim is. Bruce Tim hasn't always made the best decisions.
But he has his own vision of what he finds as in Batman's perfect woman. So that's another story. But regardless, let's just press on from that.
Bruce Tim approved of Batgirl and Batman as a couple.
Okay. But it's not
a lot.
Whatever. It's not Barbara's game. Anyway, so Jim gets up there, finds that, Barbara's taken. He takes responsibility. This is his fault. So, but of course, Batman finally takes responsibility for this garbage, and he reveals, finally, after so many years, that, Oracle is Barbara Gordon. He's not pleased about this. Now, that's the thing. With Gordon's reaction to this, it can be a 50-50. Depends how you write it. Because on one hand, you could be saying, I'm proud that Barbara's doing something good. Jim's reaction, I think, is more believable, both in the context of this game, and even if it wasn't Arkham Knight events, essentially, I still think he would behave in a similar way. Because if your kid is at risk, wouldn't you behave the same way Jim did?
Oh, absolutely. Especially when he says she's the only family I have left. Like, if she's gone, then he has no family left, obviously. And also, he's a father. Like, he says this first, as a cop, as a father. Like, he loves Barbara to pieces, so... His one and only... And Barbara's already suffered enough, so it's just...
Yeah.
I can imagine, all this. Jim just... It was an appropriate reaction. People say screw you, Jim, but he reacted in, like you said, in a realistic way.
Bear with me.
You okay?
Yeah, I just got a notification. I need to stop it. But yeah. Where was I at? So Jim's reaction is understandable. He tells him that he's going to do this on his own. Which is stupid. I'm sorry, Jim. You can have whatever grudge you have against Batman, but you can't do this on your own. I'm sorry, but regardless, you're still gonna do that.
Jim, you're going against tanks.
You
You're
know,
going against tanks. What is your police car going to do?
who knows?
Not very much.
So essentially, after that, Joker assault. It's like I think that went quite well. But yeah, we piss off Joker. We essentially track down where Barbara is, and we have a hint from Zaz and the screens. I don't really care for that. Hi, Zaz. But he's never
Which
caught.
Is very
weird.
It's a bit off. I know that. Fun fact: Zaz and Prometheus were going to get their own side mission in the game, but once again, in Arkham Knight, we can't. They won't give us good stuff. They're not going to give us, good, interesting villains or good side missions. We're going to cut that out of the game. But then again, it does kind of make sense when you realise one of the side missions you already have a serial killer. So yeah, I can kind of see it as a bit like.
Though, I think I prefer Zaz as a serial killer more than Pig in this game.
Pig's more, to say the least. Pig's way more fucked up personally.
Yeah, fair enough.
Zaz at least Zaz has some stuff.
That's another thing, though. He sees Zaz and does nothing to it. Makes you scratch. What the hell's Batman doing? And we never know he's caught. We're supposed to believe the police can handle him. Okay, sure. Whatever. Arkham Knight takes Barbara, and but as you've said, Barbara has suffered enough. Joker's killed half her already. But yeah, after Batman gets out the clock tower, now I don't know if you know this, there's actually a little hint. If you rotate the camera at this point in the game, when you get out the clock tower, you can see a guy with wings flying around and he dives down. And you can guess who that is. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Oh, well, there you go. It was a nice Easter egg.
Is it a certain...
You know who it is. There's only one character that flies.
A certain warrior of Saint Dumas?
No, it's not that. It's the character that flies.
Wait, he makes an appearance this early?
Yeah, if you rotate the camera to your left, you get to see him fly, and then he dies down. You didn't know that?
Left is in, to the left,
Yeah, at one point at the clock tower. I don't know exactly. It's at one point at the clock tower. I think it's after that scene of the gym thing. I think it's there. But after you get the clock tower, you rotate the camera to the left, fly, and he dives down.
To the left near the movie studios?
Our left.
Okay.
But you'll get it. You get what I mean by left. You're staring at your TV, rotate to the left.
I thought you meant the warrior then, and I was about to go on a tangent about how
the warrior doesn't fly.
How can he fly? His
cape
is just flaming pieces of material. But yeah, I get what you mean. I did not know, but thanks, Lucas. I did not know that character made an appearance that early.
That's a nice bit of foreshadowing, but I didn't know that, so I did some research myself. But yeah, after that...
I'm looking for that on my next playthrough.
Well, it happens at one point at the clock tower, so just remember, whenever you're exiting the clock tower...
I think that's the first time before that villain is shown anyway. Yeah, so I think it probably is that time.
But yeah, carrying on with the story, he gets to his car, wants to know who Arkham Knight is, and of course he has to do some research. And what is the first thing he says?
What do you mean?
Oh, he says that, where do we start with the search? Arkham City. There was a lot of inmates in there.
Because he's tracking the tires, because that's when the other side mission gets introduced. But
yeah, so Batman does try to do some detective work to figure out who the Arkham Knight is, but his search leads nowhere because he thinks it's someone from Arkham City. It's not that person. He thinks it's someone from the asylum. In a way, it is, I guess. Then he thinks this person has military training. That's debatable. Regardless, this chase kind of leads a mute. But yeah. So while Alfred tries to figure out who the Arkham Knight is, that's another thing. Batman doesn't figure out who the Arkham Knight is. Alfred is. Because Batman's too busy to figure out for himself who it is. Which is weird because Batman wants the Arkham Knight's name, but he himself doesn't do detective work. Alfred does. The world's greatest detective.
It gives Alfred something to do.
Regardless, that's one of your issues with this game. You just complain that the world's greatest detective. The reason why he doesn't do it is because he's not doing it because he's too focused on other things. Okay. He eventually gets to the bridge and has to go to Miyagani Island. But, of course, the bridge is closed, so he has to go to the central terminal on the other island to turn it off. I don't think we encounter anything else if we stick to the main story. So he fights a bunch of goons stealthily, and then, of course, he hacks the thing to lower the bridge, and then he turns around and sees Riddler has Catwoman. Oh, no. And that's where we finally get to the major shit about Riddler and his little hijinks. So, in one time in the story, you do have to go to Riddler. So, unfortunately, Riddler is involved in the main story, like or not. You go there to see Catwoman tied up in a chair. You release her, you fight a bunch of robots, and he reveals that Catwoman has a collar on. She can't leave this room. You need to find all the keys to get her out, which gives you more motivation to stop the Riddler because they feel like in Arkham Asylum, it made no sense why Batman was doing this. So, both in Arkham City and in this game, they gave you excuses of why to do the Batman stuff. But, yeah, we're not going to go into detail because we're saying side missions to the end. But yeah, you essentially do one of the puzzles, and then you have a choice to make: continue saving Catwoman, one beautiful babe, or go out for another beautiful babe. You, of course, go for Oracle because that's how it is. But yeah, so once you get onto that trail, we don't come across much really. I don't think the next thing coming up involving the main story is about. Well, we finished tracking where the Arkham Knight was driving, and then you have a bit of Arkham Origins gameplay with the camera hologram thing, and then you find out she left a chip behind because she knew she couldn't get away. Obviously, she's disabled. So he finds the chip, and it's a scrambler device that will lead to the next clue of the test. He goes to Wayne Tower, and we can't Lucius Fox, who's also upgrading the Batmobile along the way.
Nice to have Lucius in the game.
About time. Which makes sense he'd be more focused in this game because it's about his gadgets and his car, and that's more about his thing. So, yeah. So, and that's another thing. He's probably not, you don't see him in the other games because he's probably focused on the Wayne Industries while Batman's doing other stuff.
Yeah.
So, he's there to upgrade the car and all that stuff, and he reveals that Nightwing will give you this disruptor gun later on, like the one in Arkham Origins. So, you get that. And after doing the scrambler device, you will go to chase the Arkham Knight down to his next secret lair thing. You eventually get there and you get tackled by the Arkham Knight, and who says he's an old man and sees that you have a new suit. And he knows where to shoot on this armor. Not only does he know the weak points of the suit, he also knows the area on the stomach or side of the area that you can shoot it. And instead of killing him when that's the thing, the Arkham Knight, he has opportunities to kill the Dark Knight many times. And that's the thing, Arkham Knight wants to kill Batman in this game. Scarecrow doesn't want him to do that. He wants him to make him suffer. We can't kill him yet. But when he has an opportunity, he's right there in your face. You can kill him right now. You just slowly get up and walk out the room.
But like you said, he's with Scarecrow. It's later when he quote-unquote abandons Scarecrow.
Yeah, come on. When you're so close to winning, it's kind of ridiculous.
But remember the plan, Knight. Remember the plan.
In all honesty, maybe they should have... Well, Arkham City wanted Scarecrow. Arkham Knight was an aftermath, because the reason why Arkham Knight exists in this game behind the scenes, right, is all the Arkham games have to be called Arkham something. And the only contrived reason to have Arkham at Night in the game is because it's the only way they could figure out to call this an Arkham game. That's the reason Arkham Knight exists.
We could have gotten that Arkham World game.
Arkham World? How'll that work?
No, because at the Game Awards, they had Joker have the reward, and then he had a file for the next game after City called Arkham World.
In space.
I mean, if you go from an asylum to a city, you then go to a world.
No, go to a country then. Arkham Country.
Call it Arkham Revenge. Call it Arkham Vengeance. Call it Arkham...
In order for that to work, you'd have to have Ra's al Ghul's plan win, because in Arkham City, Race said if his plan works, he's going to make more Arkham cities around the world. So if that's the case, if you wanted to have an expansion, you should have just let Ray Shogul's plan win then.
Call it Arkham.
Anyway, I don't know if you know that's why Arkham Knight's in this, but now you know why if you didn't know that before. But yeah, that's the reason Arkham Knight exists in this game, was to try a reason to have a masked character. And that's the thing. Rocksteady, they're proud of this character because it's their own original creation. When they were pushed to a corner, like, what we're going to do with this guy. And they do say this is an original character. What I actually mean is that the persona is an original character, not the person Sue.
No.
Dummy.
That's why a lot of fans got annoyed.
And bear in mind, they were in the interviews, they were asked if it was Red Hood, and the flipping dudes lied to their flipping face.
What do you mean Red Hood? Red Hood's a different person.
Given how obvious this identity is, you know who it is. We all know who it is. Even before people got to the reveal, they know who it was.
It's Joker.
John Cena. Okay. Anyway, though, pressing on, he leaves Batman there. He fights some brute guys that are in the game, and they also have different weapons. They have electric things and knives popping out. But you fight a bunch of those, get out of there with the Bat Tank, trace Arkham Knight down. And he's revealed that it's not Arkham Knight. It's actually some guy with a synthesizer. He, of course, says he's not going to tell where he is until he interrogates him in a way you could argue is not in Batman's character, but he tries to essentially threaten to run him over the tire of the Batmobile.
It's nonetheless satisfying.
Would you say that's in Batman's character to do that?
Potentially.
But bear in mind, this is the one with the reason why, because of certain things that's going on in his brain, that could be the reason why.
Obviously, in this game, he's a lot more violent because of the Joker in his brain. It's also the reason why he has weapons on his Bat car to begin with.
Well, he needs them to be the tanks.
If you scan the Batmobile, you get the riddle where he tells Lucius, like, put weapons on the Batmobile, put more weapons on them. And Lucius is like, what? But obviously that's Joker wanting all the firepower that he can get.
I got the impression it got more weapons. It got like a hacking virus ability, an electrical shock thing, but apart from that, not much.
I mean, obviously, and even the thugs say it, you've turned the Batmobile into a tank.
Well, we got that. It has a big turret on it.
He's got a freaking tank.
That, where was I in the story exactly? After that tire shit, he reveals that Penguin has got Oracle, so you have to go next to her next. So at least Penguin's in the story. Unfortunately, this is his weakest involvement in the story, but that because it just leads to another side mission. But yeah, you go there and then you track down where Penguin is for information, and he just says, "Oh, we have Barbara. Okay, you have to go to this other place now." I just love it. We have each character in this game just say you have to go to this place now. Now go to this place now. That's how it is. Okay. But he's also introduced to have another side mission because Penguin and Nightwing have a rivalry. Ooh, great. Okay.
Ooh, Nightwing's in this game.
And he's just there to drop off the Disruptor. And then he's like, I'm only going to help you with the Penguin mission, but that's it, because Penguin's my beef. That's it.
You're also gonna help me with one other thing, but apart from that, no.
What exactly does he ever help him with, aside from the Penguin stuff?
A big reptile dude.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I saw that. But yeah, after essentially that, he goes to the next place he has to go to, which is essentially Stag Enterprises, who I think is another original character invented for this game. But
no, Stag. I think Stag's an enemy of the Green Arrow, actually.
Okay.
I think he is. Because I did search him up. I think he is.
Essentially, though, he goes there to find. It's nice that you get to go on the blimps and cool, and you do have to be able to do a bit of a wishy-washy thing to get there. You get your hacking device back, essentially, and you can hack.
No, he's actually he's a villain to Metamorpho. He's the reason why Metamorpho became he turned Rex into Metamorpho. And he also looks a lot more cooler in the comics, but he has come into conflict with Batman, Flash, and Green Lantern. I thought it was Green Arrow, but it's Green Lantern, turns out. So yeah, he's a Metamorpho film,
Right.
actually.
Regardless, you fight your way through the blimp. You get to where you need to be. There's a big goon fight in the first blimp. You beat up all these goons, but then you reveal that, that Joker illusion comes over and Stag is taken by this. That's another thing. Because of Joker's hallucinations, Batman could easily do things a bit faster, but because of the Joker hallucinations, they prevent him from help finishing the game quicker, and that will be established later for that big event, but whatever. So you have to go to the second blimp, do a few things in the first blimp to get to blimp number 2. And when you get to blimp number 2, I believe, you slowly reveal that Stag is actually working with Scarecrow and he's been trying to develop a new fear toxin. So, yeah, you eventually find out the truth, confront Stag, and it's called the Cloudburst. But he doesn't know what he does know what it does, but it's used on him, so he doesn't spill the beans. But he does recover from this, so it's not uncurable because he has a small dose. He eventually goes to confront Scarecrow, who has the generator machine where their Cloudburst is, and this is a bit awkward. He wants to confront him, but, bear in mind, if you're wondering, when you go there, you see 2 Scarecrows, and no matter which one you pick, it will be the Joker one. So, just go, so it doesn't matter which one you pick. Scarecrow is now taunting Batman, and then he will then get grabbed by Batman, and Joker is now in control of Batman's body. That's the second thing in this game, is that he is the 5th Joker. And the cure in Arkham City has not cured him, apparently.
Which is a bit strange.
The only explanation they've given us is Batman didn't drink the whole thing, and it was supposed to be for one person, but Batman saved some of the cure for the Joker.
What?
There's your reason.
That's just stupid. He drank the cure.
He drank half the cure.
But he drank the cure nonetheless.
So because of that one little detail, they get to make a big plot point of that. So a contrived shit ever. That's Arkham Knight in voice, the most contrived game ever.
They never even set up that plot line. That never would have even been mentioned.
That just goes to show how lazy Arkham Knight is. Lazy for its name for the game, and lazy for its story. But yeah, so after that, Joker takes over Batman's body briefly, beats up the goons, and eventually he's about to kill Scarecrow when he comes to his senses and realizes what the fuck's going on. Even Scarecrow finds that Batman's a bit different. But because of this, Scarecrow is able to escape with an old bomb trigger, grabs the machine, and he has his helicopters drag him away. And before Batman can do anything, Arkham Knight shoots an RPG at him to slow him down. They escape, and it's finally time for that big confrontation with Oracle. You go to the China House safe room again, and unfortunately you get there too late. Because you get there just in time to see Scarecrow use fear toxin on Barbara, and she's first scared of Batman, but then she grabs a gun on the table and, of course, kills herself. And Batman breaks down, understandably so. And he doesn't know if he can go on. But then he realizes, that he couldn't save her, but he can prevent other people from dying when he remembers that Ivy she's immune from the cure, and if she can maximize that ability, she could protect the whole city. And so he goes to her. That's another thing in this game. How did you feel about Oracle dying?
It was a very bold move, I will say.
Your statics back.
Okay, well, Lucas, I'll catch you up with it, but for the people who are watching this, personally, I thought it was a very bold decision because I was not expecting them to kill her. I thought she'd be captured and threatened and that. But to go as far as to kill her, I was not expecting that. I really think they were just gonna hold her captive. But no, they have her pull the trigger, obviously, on herself. And it's actually such a sad, such a sad scene.
Okay. But yeah, so big shock there. We'll go to Ivy to help save the city. You could think that Ivy might double cross us, and there is that suspicion there, given her smirch as you leave. After plot points going on from tree to tree, you essentially realize that you have this tree that can help, and it just needs to maximize its ability. Batman has to do some things to loosen the roots, and eventually does so. He then, this leads to a big fight with some tanks with the Arkham Knight, and he's finally going to release the Cloudburst. And he releases it, and Batman has to find a way to stop this garbage. So he eventually goes to under the ground. No luck on Arkham Knight's identity, I'm afraid. Still with shame. So Alfred's wasting his time. But you eventually release the plants, have a big fight, they try to make it as grand as they can. You fight all these tanks, beat them all down with the help of Ivy on the way. But once it's all over, you have to then essentially go and confront the Arkham Knight in his Cloudburst tank. And it's kind of an intense fight. You have the Cobra Dranks, which are stealth ones you got to fight around and beat up. But once you get to Arkham Knight, you eventually overwhelm the Cloudburst and destroy it. You drag Arkham Knight out, and then his hallucinations once again take over. He knocks the mask off and he thinks it's the Joker. Of course, it's not the Joker, it's just a little hallucination.
They pull
Arkham Knight,
another
the real
Mr.
Arkham Knight, has
Freeze from
escaped.
Arkham City.
Yeah. Arkham Knight has essentially escaped once again, and he essentially is led in terror. So the army now obeys him, Scarecrow. After that, he goes to see if Ivy's okay, but no, she's not okay. She loses the last of her energy to blast the Cloudburst away, and she kills herself. Nature always wins.
Wait, I've just realised. Have we missed out on the Panessa Studios plot?
Yeah, I'll go over it now if you want after we wrap up the Ivy stuff. But how do you feel about Ivy's death?
I love it. I love the fact you have a Batman villain, coming to help Batman. There's no double crossing, and she actually just sacrifices herself.
Yeah, bit of a sad loss. But there is no. I also find it funny that Alfred says we underestimated the humanity that was in her. She did it for plants, Alfred, not for humans.
Oh dear. Her final act was a noble one.
Anyway, though, we carry on, and we'll go to the Panessa Studios bit real quick. Essentially, Harley has found Batman's lair, and essentially has got Robin beaten up by the Jokers and all that stuff. Good one on you, Batman. Good on you.
I've forgotten when that bit happens in terms of the story.
It's when he needs to get to Founders Island, and he has to get to the island number 3, and that's when the other stuff happens. So something like that.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot. We actually skipped over quite a bit. In all fairness.
No, it's fine. There was a lot of stories left, but we got there in the end. So he gets to Panessa Studios, gets each Joker one by one, and then the climactic thing at the end is he drags Harley back to see that there is also one other thing I should have mentioned. During this, he does come across hallucinations or visions, or what you call them, of Jason Todd tied up and beaten by the Joker, one in a wheelchair, and then by the crowbar, and the one is where he gets branded. And but yeah, Troy Baker plays the role of Jason Todd, and he also plays the role of another character. And if you're good at voices, then you could be idea. But
he does also voice Two-Face as well, just a little side thing. And of course, he voiced the Joker in the last game.
Yeah.
But also, before we do move on, can we just talk about Johnny Charisma's song? Well, Joker's song.
Well, it's the only reason Mark Hamill's in this game, actually. The whole reason Mark Hamill decided to do this, aside from Kevin Conroy being Batman, of course, is that's the thing. Mark Hamill only does Joker for two things. One, if Kevin Conroy is being Batman, but another thing he really enjoyed in this game that they would let him do is the Arkham City song about Can't Stop Laughing. And of course, that's that.
I'm stuck in your head and I'm laughing. I drove you round the bend and I can't stop laughing.
Well, we ain't got time to hear the whole thing.
Dead and I can't stop laughing. What more can I do? Take me on home to the asylum. I love it so much. It plays over the credits of the game as well, more slower version. I love it.
Well, it's more of that's actually a different song. That's actually it's actually a reprise version of he's stuck in his head and he's sad. He's alone in his head and he's sad basically.
I'm stuck in your head and I'm not home. No encore.
But Anyway, though, he beats up the Jokers, gets Harley, and essentially he comes back to find that Henry Adams is also one of the infected Jokers, and his portrayal is supposed to be the sneaky mastermind, essentially, of the Joker. It's the only personality that's left. But yeah, which essentially, what you were probably wondering about mastermind, what are we talking about? Well, bear in mind Arkham Origins, he was a kind of a mastermind in that tricking Black Mask, so there is that character trait to him. But yeah,
I'm home.
He kills the other Jokers because he thinks he's the best one of the lot. Harley's on his side and he uses her as a leverage. But when he looks in Batman's eyes, he realizes that he's the better Joker and he kills himself because he's not needed anymore. You're gonna be spectacular.
No, not again. No.
Robin finds out this twist also and locks him up in a cell. But during this, Batman has hallucinations and he also finds, Jason Todd's climactic end. He gets shot by the Joker because he doesn't want to reveal Batman's identity.
I always hated Tattletales.
I have stuff to say, but I'll save for later.
I think it is could not stand Tattletales.
He comes to his senses.
You see what happens when you drag your friends into this little game of ours.
Noted. He comes to his senses, in quotation, when he realizes he has to get out of the cell. And how does he do so? Apparently, this whole stuff that he saw Tim Drake leave. He saw Tim Drake leave, but apparently all we saw Tim Drake leave was all an hallucination too, and all that. So it makes me that's the most confusing part of the game is that. So not only was the Jason Todd flashback an hallucination, but also that whole thing of you getting a cell originally was also an hallucination. Okay.
Yeah.
But the game uses hallucinations as cheats,
It was really weird because when I first played through it, I went in the cell like 3 times, expected something to happen. Nothing happened. Went out of the cell because for me the indication that appears on Robin, it didn't appear for some reason.
But yeah, you essentially lock Robin in the cell, which of course is a stupid thing to do, which will backfire on the finale, but whatever.
Well, anyway, I can see where he comes from.
I know why, but regardless, you leave him completely vulnerable.
So you had him working on a cure for all these people when he could have been saving Barbara.
Yeah, and that's another thing. He doesn't. That's another thing that you probably don't like about Batman. He does not tell him not only of her kidnapping, but also of her supposed death.
He does.
Well, when he's locked in a cell, he can't hurt him, which is a bit stupid.
And for those who haven't played it, actually no, I'm not gonna reveal that. Actually.
Yes, also he decides to tell Tim the truth when he can't do anything to help Batman, which is stupid. So he leaves, and essentially, he goes along his way to the finale of this game, which we went back to where are we on the timeline. After the events with Ivy, he goes to the GCPD to track down where Jim might be. And he goes underground, eventually, to essentially find that Jim has been captured by the Arkham Knight's forces and will be used as hostage. You've leveraged the car down there after some finagling, eventually some back and forth, but eventually get to the bottom and encounter a drill fight with the Arkham Knight. Of course, he's still around. He, of course, eventually reveals that he knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and of course, we already know how, if you're slow in the head, you can guess who this is 5 minutes in. But after that big drill fight, the car is destroyed. But you think, hooray! This is more of a joy for us because the car is no longer in the game. Until you realize.
Yeah, it's good they destroy it, but it's still a beautiful looking car.
So that's why Lucius will make a spare one. Fuck you, Lucius.
I swear, I swear, Lucius, because Lucius said earlier, careful with her, Mr. Wayne, she's one of a kind.
So you decided to put another one.
But then at the end, they're just like, oh, we have a spare.
Because he decided to build a spare in this time.
How can Lucius... I'm not even going to say it. In a few hours, Lucius
has got... It's a contrived game in this series, but regardless... He goes up to confront Jim and rescues him, and they have a bit of talk about Barbara, and he's going to talk about it. But before that, though, he turns around and sees Arkham Knight, and he reveals who he is, and Anyone with a brain knows who he is, and of course it's Jason Todd. And for some reason, Batman is surprised by this. I don't know why, but whatever. He thinks that he was dead, but no. Because you live in a world where you've been in hallucinations and encountered the spiritual stuff with Ra's al Ghul, you believe in normality. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. Batman lives in a world with a Lazarus pit, and he doesn't think that someone can come back to life.
Giant crocodile men, women with plant powers, and like you said, Lazarus pits. Fucking immortal zombies. People surviving acid being thrown on them and having a split personality. As well as as having people turn into a massive clay monster.
Shapeshifters, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Batman lives in a world of supernatural things, but can't understand that someone could come back from the dead. Oh no. But yeah, so that's also stupid writing in this game. They should have got Paul Dini back. Fuck you guys, whatever.
Do you want to talk about the whole Jason Todd thing now, or would you want to save that till after?
I just want to get through the main story, and then we'll go over everything.
Okay, fair enough.
Because we're already at the climax of this game anyway. So you have a fight with our Jason Todd, aka Red Hood, and it's nice that he throws the mask off, and you kind of have a Red Hood motif and all that shit. So there's that for you. Ha 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 ha! Fuck you, gamers. Then you beat him up, break his mask, and Batman does not hurt him. He just like sorry for all this garbage. Like, yeah, that's how it works. Just you're Robin. Don't do this. Don't do this. I think it's a bit too.
Talking to me.
Don't you think it's a bit too late for this guy to be redeemed at this point? Because we don't know how long he's been like this.
Yeah, but obviously Batman, like, he loved Jason and he thought he was dead. So Batman will do whatever he.
So he replaced him with Tim Drake.
Yeah, that was after it was revealed that Jason was dead. Joker sent me the video. I thought he killed you.
Well, everybody went on a rant about that part, but whatever. So he beats him up, and essentially he does a Batman on him and disappears and escapes. Again, this is the second time he's done that. He then goes to release Jim, and Jim, of course, at this point knows who Batman is because he overheard the Red Hood stuff. And they go up to face Scarecrow, and he's actually talking to Jim, not Batman, because they made a deal that if you get me Batman and finish him off, I'll give you Barbara, who is actually alive. I'm sure we all saw that coming. Yes?
Yeah, they're not going to kill off.
When you have a guy that uses fear toxin, it's going to,
It was a bit like, and I knew, I'm like, surely they don't have the guts to kill off.
And bear in mind, they could have easily done that. They could. You know why? How they could? It's the final game in your series, dude. You could have had some guts. You had the guts to kill Ivy, but no. Barbara's too much.
They had the guts to. They had the guts to do a lot of things in this game.
Yeah, but yeah. So he asks Jim to kill Batman. Of course, Jim finds a way out of it by shooting his armor in the chest, which is already established to be the strongest part. Scarecrow thinks he's dead. Of course, he finds that he's not dead, and then he knocks Barbara off the building, who saves him, Batman via style. And his new Batmobile grey version. Not as cool as the black version, but okay.
It does the job.
It gets us out of there. We finally have Barbara safe. And when we have Barbara safe, she helps us out with getting some data. Then we go back to the GCPD as there's a siege on it. Big fight with the tanks. And then you go to the roof and you beat up some guys. And then after that, you have the finale. Where you have, hey, we got through the story in less time than I thought. It's only an hour 23.
And we still have all the side content to talk about.
Oh, goody gumdrops. Finishing off the main story, Batman decides to give himself in to Scarecrow, leaves his utility belt behind, and then he mentions that someone is tracking his location. Now, you think it's Scarecrow, but actually it's actually someone else, if you didn't know.
I did not clock it at first when I first played through it, but then I realized, oh yeah. And
it's that other character. Yeah, so that other character is also tracking him. And eventually you get to the Arkham Asylum place, and he's put into Arkham Manor, where Jim is forced to reveal his identity. And he doesn't. Scarecrow doesn't seem to care much, but he cares about how it will affect them. Then he's going to kill Batman, but
I will say, I do enjoy that. And the way Scarecrow reacts, the fact, he doesn't care who he is, but they will.
I mean, there was kind of a reaction on Scarecrow, so he was a bit oblivious, surprised by that. But I'm not sure why so many people.
Bruce Wayne. Thing is, though, obviously you put two and two together. Bro's a billionaire. Of course, he'd have the money to get all this equipment.
The reason why people are surprised is because, Bruce Wayne is a playboy. It's not in his character. Have you ever heard of a persona? No. Whatever. Anyway, though,
did you not listen to the voice messages in The Office?
I don't know. Anyway, though, there's a hallucination shit going on with Batman as he essentially kind of gets out of it via hallucination in a way. This is weird. He's tied up, and physically the Scarecrow is confronting him. While he does this, essentially, Joker and him are having some sort of psychological battle. Joker is shooting people in these hallucinations, killing the villains off, and then it leads into a catacombs area. He finds a statue of himself with his head ripped off, doesn't like that, walks around, sees a funeral bit, walks away from that. Eventually comes into a little graveyard area where there's a bunch of bat statues. He shoots these bat statues in POV shot, and we jump scare ourselves by Batman.
There's so many jump scares in this game.
Yeah. Essentially, he will leave and come across Batman once again, and Batman gives his iconic line, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman." He beats him up and locks him in one of those little Arkham Asylum cubby things, and he's finally cured of the Joker. Just had to do some mental bullshit. So no, you don't need a chemical to an antidote from Mr. Freeze. All you need to do is get yourself some mental TLC.
Question. Do you go straight into like beating Joker and shoving him into the cell?
Yeah,
or do you full on beat him up? Because I don't. I will keep on punching him. I think I got to a 500 combo.
But also, yeah.
Because I thought, one, it's the perfect chance to beat up Joker for every fucking thing he's done to us. Two, he deserves it because of what he's done. And two, it's just so satisfying just to keep on just beating.
Yeah, but if you're referring to Joker, it's not the real Joker, though. It's just an hallucination.
Yeah, but still, you get to beat up Joker proper. And, every time you failed or Joker annoyed you in the series, it just felt good to just knock him down.
Anyway, but it's also weird that the cure for the Joker infliction is mental health, not a cure.
It's a mental
point of Arkham City then?
Game.
That just makes Arkham City's plot kind of ridiculous. He didn't need the fucking cure. He'd only have some mental shit.
Once again, proving that Arkham Knight is lazy.
Yeah, it is. Wrapping up the story, he breaks free of the little restraint in via Red Hood help. Okay. And then he makes Scarecrow inject himself with his own syringes, and he sees Nightmare Batman, which essentially is the fan name for it. I don't know why you left, but I assume you'll be back. He sees Nightmare Batman and then panics and he gets knocked out by Jim, and then he's essentially taken to GCPD. And Aaron's like, "You seem scared, Crane. Get used to it. Bruce Wayne, huh? I think I'll stick to Batman." And I like that respect that Aaron has.
My thing glitched for a sec. Sorry. My thing glitched for a sec, my bad. But yeah, Nightmare Batman.
Yeah, I just said about Aaron Cash through that statement, so yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. He's essentially done now, so and then he's like, everyone knows who you are. Batman still is needed for one more night, and essentially you have all these side missions to do.
If you haven't already done them.
Do you want us to wrap up the main story first, or shall I just get to the side mission first?
We'll wrap up the main story.
Completing the game 100%, Lee, you would go to Arkham Manor, Bruce Wayne's Manor, and everyone knows who he is. You go inside, and then boom, explosion. Oh no, Bruce Wayne and Alfred killed themselves. Okay. That's the thing. There is no exact explanation of this ending, which is kind of confusing for your audience. Because we're gonna leave it up to the audience to decide how things going down because we're just too goddamn lazy. Fuck you, Rocksteady. It follows up with Jim in a position of power, and everyone's wondering what they're gonna do now and who's responsible for Bruce Wayne's death. There's some muggers about to mug a woman and other person, but then Nightmare Batman shows up and terrifies them, and that's the end of the main story of Arkham Knight in the franchise. Question mark?
I do like how the mugging obviously is meant to
Yeah.
reflect Bruce's own, parents' death with the pearls and, being robbed in the alleyway. I do like that callback. Nightmare Batman. There are some people say he's using the fear toxin to become the new legend.
Is that what you think?
It's probably the most reasonable explanation I can say. Someone said it's Jason Todd, and I'm like, no.
I just think it's some sort of spiritual thing. That's what I think it is.
But yeah, that's the story of Arkham Knight, which was actually it's the longest game, but we got it done pretty well. So, do you want to talk about the side missions now?
Well, okay. We'll just get. What's the first on the list?
First on our list, so non-Season of Infamy.
Not Season of Infamy?
Do you want to include Season of Infamy?
Whatever. What's the first and the main? We'll just do Season of Infamy last. What's the first one?
Okay.
Do you have like a paper or something?
The Firefighters. We'll go with the Firefighters.
I'll be brief. I'm going to try and be brief with each one of these because there's a lot to go through or whatever. So you go for around Gotham City, and essentially rescue all these firefighters one by one to learn about Firefly, and then you also learn about the chief, and then realize that the chief actually has hired Firefly because they're going to lose their jobs. The chief is an understandable guy. You can see where he's coming from, but at the same time, you did hire a pyromane to terrorize people's buildings. He said that he made sure they were empty buildings. But this is you shouldn't trust the pyromane because he's going to go and destroy other shit.
I do not understand one bit though. Why Batman throws him in the cell with the other insane maniacs?
Because that's the way the game works.
I think it would have been better if the police had had his own little cell, and Aaron Cash was like, "Here, Chief, we'll give you a little cell away from the things." I mean, you're putting him in with the likes of Professor Pig. I mean, come on, man.
It's okay. You know why? Because these guys don't have their weapons, so you're okay. Fuck you.
Do you know what they're capable of?
Apparently Batman doesn't. Well, no, Batman does. He doesn't care.
Overall thoughts on this side mission? It's decent. I enjoy it. But it's a simple little go
it's just like a fetch quest, really, until you get the big reveal. It's fine. It's not the most worst. Next.
Next one, we will go with. Okay, let's go. Do you want to talk about Riddler's Revenge?
I'll be brief with it. You have to rescue Catwoman, find all these keys. You work together for each different trial. Eventually, you get to the finale. You've reached Catwoman. She leaves after some sort of flirtatious tease of we can bang each other, but no, there's more shit to do. You go finish off Riddler, gather all his Riddler trophies. Then he releases his giant mech shit crap. Catwoman comes back to help your ass. You beat up Riddler and you drag your ass in. There's all these things with his race car shit, and he gets annoying with the talking shit, but eventually you do kick his ass and throw him in the cell. So you're
in one of the only proper and good boss fights in the game.
Now, in shortness for me, it's not worth it because of Riddler, you don't get the whole 100% ending. And number two, the ending isn't really that much. It just raises more questions. So it's not worth completing the game for everything, personally.
I do like to complete the game for everything just so it's a bit of a
overfit. In shortness, I find it annoying. You?
I like it. Surprisingly, it's not. I like the fact that obviously Riddler wants revenge.
Again.
Yes, his obviously some of them are very hard, some of them are very difficult. But you get the boss fight, you get Catwoman, you get it all there. I think it generally Annoying, yes, but story-wise, it's a very good mission.
And you get contrived reasons for the puzzle, like rotate the wheel around for the Batmobile to go lower.
The
Regardless.
races used to piss me off, but now they're fine because I know
Anyway,
how
next
to.
mission.
The Perfect Crime, which I'm going to say this probably next to.
Is that Pig's mission?
Yeah, Perfect Crime, which is personally my favorite mission in the game.
I can
Not
understand
even-
that. This
not
mission
even-
essentially is similar to the ones you get in Hush in the Arkham City one. You go around, find a dead body, scan different parts of it. Eventually leads to Pig's lair. You fight Pig in a weird confrontation with his own opera shit. Eventually beat him by throwing one to the table, breaking his mask, and then you hear his opera shit in his cell every now and then.
Mm. But this is. I made a point in. I think it was Arkham City and maybe Arkham Origins. Arkham did well in, showing relatively unknown Batman villains. Like I said, Zaz, but they also did Copperhead as well. Here you have Pig, and Arkham Knight was definitely my introduction to Professor Pig. Up until that point, I never heard of, or like barely heard of Pig, so it's nice that they introduce him. I also think he's honestly one of, if not the most, next to Manhattan Joker, but the most messed up Batman villain.
No, the firefighter mission I can tolerate because it's just fetch quest. The same thing with this. It's just like just look around. It's just essentially a fetch quest until you get to the finale. And these ones are fine. They're serviceable. They're not like irritating. But yeah, that's that one done.
But
Next,
would you say so? It's not your favorite in the game.
I'll get to it when I get to it.
Okay, next side mission, we're going to go with the first of Season of Infamy, Wonderland.
This is one of the better ones. In short, story-wise, Mad Hatter wants Batman to come to the GCPD because he's actually turned himself in. The reason why is a bit elaborate because he says he's got some hostages. So I don't understand why exactly he wants him. That's the thing. What about Jefferson's plan involves him being in the GCPD though?
Because obviously Mad Hatter's gone more insane than ever before. He's now talking in rhymes. He doesn't just want a Alice, he wants Batman to be his Alice.
I don't understand why he had to be in GCPD to do this. He could have been in any building to do this.
Because it'll lead Batman to him. Like, it's a very simple thing. I really like Jervis's plan in this.
Well, if you wanted him to know where he was, couldn't he just left like a tracker or a phone or something?
I mean, no, but it's simpler because he knows Batman's going to be.
Yeah, it's just trying to get some bullshit. Regardless, each mission you rescue a hostage with an Alice in Wonderland mask. One has a rabbit, one has the Queen, one has the Cheshire Cat. You rescue each of these hostages, go back to the GCPD, confront him, want to know where the next hostage is, but actually he's turned himself in. He's actually back to GCPD. But Batman thinks something a bit off about this, so he goes back and he confronts Mad Hatter in the book, and he opens it up, and you actually have the second best side mission of Mad Hatter out of the three that he has.
Yeah.
You go through each page, Asylum, City, and Night, and play through and that's to fight the thugs again. With a
Because
giant
not
Mad Hatter watching you.
Origins. Because we can't have Origins.
Well, there are references. We'll get to those when we get to those. He overcomes the book, gets out of there. Mad Hatter is scared, and you knock his ass out, and he's locked in the cell. And that's your side mission. It's one of the more fun ones, I'd say.
One little bit of a fun fact I will say about this mission. If you look at the last names of the police officers, they actually do relate to the character. So Cheshire Cat was Officer Katz, spelt with a K. And then the Queen of Hearts was Officer McQueen, which I thought was very good. The White Rabbit, I don't know. I thought it was like Hop or something. But it's a bit strange. That one a bit strange. But I like the fact you have the detail of the actual names.
What's the White Rabbit's name?
I've forgotten. It starts with a H. I think it's like H or something.
Okay. All right. And as for the fourth hostage, no masks. So we don't know what his connection is.
There's only 3 hostages.
No, there's a fourth one because that's why he comes back to the station.
No, there's 3. Because Lucas, he goes to the third car, but it's revealed that the hostage isn't in there.
Okay. Hi, Adam.
Oh yes, there's 3. Okay,
Uh,
next
It's okay.
next
We
one.
finished the main story, just on the side missions and some other things to go.
Yeah. Next one. Speaking of fire, let's talk about
Firefly.
Firefly.
Briefly
He
on this
is
one.
one of two Origins characters that they bring back.
Yeah. He mentions that this is payback for beating me on that bridge, Batman. So your payback is essentially driving around insanely with your flying jetpack. It's not really much of a revenge plan, is it?
Scarecrow promised me Gotham, tinder for my flame. I will
Okay.
say, the mission itself is fun for just chasing him around and then
That's essentially it. You just essentially go to each fire building, chase him around, you break his jetpack. It's not as good as the one in Origins, unfortunately, but it's there. It would have been really cool if you had like a boss. I think what they should have done with some of these is that they should have
yeah.
bring back, have him fly around. When you get to the finale one, have his fight from Arkham Origins incorporated into it, and then you have a good better, and then make it more enjoyable. Of course, they're not going to do that because we need contrived and lazy reasons for this game because that's it.
To put it simply, a lot of villains in this game did deserve boss fights. But yeah, I do agree. The Mad Hatter one, whilst it was fun, it should have ended.
I wouldn't. Mad Hatter doesn't deserve a
with
boss fight. Firefly
not
does.
Mad Hatter fight. Well, no, some of them don't, but a lot of them, I think, should have had a boss encounter.
No,
Firefly, to put it simply, yeah, the mission's fun. He could have been done a bit better, but apart from that, it's not. It's
it's a
not horrid.
serviceable mission, so I can say. Next one, please.
What? Heir to the Cowl, which this
Is
is
that
going
the
to
one
be.
with Hutch? Hold on. Why is Adam
No,
entering the studio? I never.
Adam?
Oh,
Wait, is Adam entering the studio?
I don't know what he wants, but whatever.
Let him in. Let him in.
Does he know?
Adam! Oh
Why
my
are you here exactly?
god! Oh my god, Adam!
Why am I here? I don't know. I felt
la-
like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our special guest, Adam Burns!
Okay. How did you get in anyway? I thought
Hi.
the code was only sent. I don't know how he got in anyway. I thought I sent you the link.
Yeah, Adam, how did you actually get here?
No, you sent it to the group chat by accident.
But yeah, Adam, oh, it's so nice to have you as our special guest cameo.
Not that you know anything about Arkham, so what's the point?
Is he planning
Yeah,
to
you're
play
right,
the
don't.
games?
I'm having trouble.
I hope he. And he's gone.
Next side mission, go on.
Heir to the Cowl, which is not Hush's mission, it's Azrael's
Oh,
mission.
okay. Azrael's mission. I'll be brief in my analysis, like I do all these. This one essentially is back because of the events of Arkham. This is a sad thing. Because of the events of Arkham City, this is one of those follow-up missions. Because he wants to take over as Batman's replacement because he feels like something bad's going to happen to the Dark Knight. He doesn't know what his true purpose is exactly because it's scrambling in his brain. But after some training with challenges after some challenges with Batman training Azrael, he goes to the clock tower and finds that his actual reason is he's supposed to kill the Dark Knight and replace him. But overall, the person behind him, Azrael, has overheard this information, and he has a choice to make: either kill Batman or realize that he's been manipulated by the cult.
Which one do you personally do?
I don't know. I just picked the safer option and just let him leave.
Yeah, personally, instead of having him kill Batman, I'll have him break the sword.
Hi.
Adam's back! Oh my
Why?
god.
I had issues with my phone, so I transferred to the tablet.
Yeah, you're here to do something you have no clue on.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so if I'm being completely honest, Lucas, I'm just here to mess with you. So,
What about Jack then?
Can we
Jack's
keep
sitting on it.
him? Can we keep him?
Why do you if you respect Adam's privacy?
No, it was my idea. I asked Jack if he was interested in helping me mess with you.
Whatever.
Yeah, Lucas, it's a little thing that was planned. Sorry, bro.
You knew about this?
Yes.
Jack knew about this?
Yeah,
I did.
I would have liked
By the
to
way,
be in.
Lucas. By the way, Lucas, you didn't send the group to the You didn't send the link to the group chat. Don't worry, bro.
Then how did you get? You sent the code, didn't you?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I did. I did repeat them.
For no reason. You didn't know what you were doing.
Oh no, he knew what he was doing. He was
I
copying the
wanted-
link, sending it to me. I was going to join just to mess with you, and then disappear just as quickly as I arrived.
I wanted Adam to make a cameo because.
Regardless, I'm going to finish on the side missions before this stream comes longer than it has to be because I've got places I have to be.
But yeah, Heir to
So
the
do I.
Cowl, basically following up of Azrael's arc from Arkham City. Yeah, obviously, you know, it was one of those side missions that teased bigger things in Arkham Knight, but, you know, he wasn't done as dirty as the other villain that was teased, but I still think that obviously there could have been, you know, bigger things with him. I do feel like he was a bit, you know. But apart from that, it's a side mission that's just fun. It's alright to do, it's not bad.
Noted. Can you tell us how many side missions are left?
Lucas, we still have quite a few to go, but we're going to get through them. Don't worry, Lucas, we'll get through them.
Yeah, it's
Next-
getting tired again.
Next one. Next one we'll talk about, Two-Faced Bandit. How about that?
In shortness, this is essentially one big stealth. You go for each bank, stealth. Two-Face got the shaft on this game, whatever. He gets the shaft in all the
Yeah.
franchise.
Mm.
You go each side mission, stealth-wise, knock a bunch of goons out, Third bank, you knock a bunch of goons out. Two-Face shows up as one of the Thug goons with some Arkham Knight goons. You beat up the Arkham Knight goons, beat up Two-Face. Two-Face is sad about this, and Bruce Wayne is sorry about what happened between the two, and that's the end of Two-Face. Kind of weak. God damn.
Once again, a fun side mission, but yeah, they do shaft Two-Face. They didn't give him a boss encounter, and they treat him like an average thug. Like,
At least he
literally,
gets what they should have done is they should have given a similar boss fight with you have with Catmull in Arkham City. But no, fuck that
yeah,
shit.
that would have been much better. I will say though, when you can use environmental takedowns on him, it is satisfying to just shove his head in like the electricity thing.
Okay, to give Adam a purpose, you, Adam, can have the honor of reading the comments for us when we get to that part.
Yeah, let's
okay.
go.
Literally,
When we
just-
get to it, but first, if you want that to happen, please fast forward the side mission. Next, please.
Okay. Next up, Gunrunner, which is my second favorite mission.
Just remind me what this mission is.
Penguin and Nightwing.
Oh, fuck
Ditch.
Penguin side mission is essentially another repeat shit, regardless. You have to go to each safe house to destroy the weapon caches, which is what Penguin's thing is. You have Nightwing on your side. You go there, beat up some goons, go to the vaults, some progression of their development, go inside, blast the vault, and then you get to the finale. We change up a bit. In the finale, what they do is you go to one of the missions by yourself, because where the hell is Nightwing? And, well, it turns out that he has been captured by the Penguin, and you go there and you have to rescue him in a very creative way, where you time it right, and then you break him out of the event, and boom. When you turn around and Penguin's back up again, he's got him at gunpoint. Have you ever heard the Flying Graysons? They did a move that will blow your mind away, and then he times it right and they blow out. And Penguin is dragged to the cell, and that's the end we see of Penguin until we have the Arkham episode follow-up. But, I mean, to be fair, Two-Face has one too, but
To put it simply, I enjoy this mission. Nice to see, teaming up with Nightwing. I love Nightwing. He's amazing. And it's one of the only side missions that is, like, pretty much nearly perfect. The only thing is, though, people have said, how is Penguin able to get the drop on Nightwing? But there is that. Next one, we'll go with Shadow War, which is one that I think is a
piece of information involving Ra's al Ghul, I believe.
and I personally think this one's a bit overrated compared to.
I don't mind it. It's more engaging.
It's a
the
good
story-
side mission, but it's just a bit overrated. But yeah,
Whatever. Plot of this mission essentially is you eventually find out that the League is fighting with each other because some forces want Ra's al Ghul back, their head boss back, and Adam leaves because of that decision. Fuck, he can't handle it
if
either.
Adam does come back, we do need him. We'll have him read the comments. I don't know.
Bear in mind, most of the comments might be just his dialogue.
Are they actually okay?
Probably it's Adam. You'd expect him to do that.
Anyway, Shadow War.
So Raish's forces are fighting with the people who are against Raish being revived. Which the reason why some people don't want him back is because he's kind of a sucker and he fails at succeeding. But yeah, So the leader of this resistance is essentially his other daughter, Nissa, who doesn't, because of Talia's death, has decided that she's best to lead the League without the Lazarus Pit. That's her plan. We don't know if we can trust her per se, but So what happens is you go first to Raish, find where he is. He wants Batman to help save his life because Batman has this no-kill rule, regardless. And then you go to Nissa, and she asks him to kill him. So they both forces want you to join their respective side. And at the end, on the way, your journey, Alfred's like, is taking the life the same as resurrecting this guy? And to answer your question with that, no, your thoughts?
No, I don't think they are. I don't think they are similar, which leads on to why the decision you make at the end.
I'm guessing what you did was you destroyed the machine.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, which is actually
also because it is the final game. Because obviously at the end you get two options. You can either give Raz the cure, or you can break the
destroy the
machine.
machine.
And since it is the final game, technically you'd have the whole plot line of the fact that Raz is now loose and all that. But also, I feel like Arkham Batman would come to terms with himself and realize he's died like 1,000 times. So technically he is already dead. And Adam has just texted he's not coming back, Lucas. He is not coming back.
What was the whole point then?
Only
join for giggles. Middle finger, Adam. Whatever. Anyway, random. So after that, overall, I think it was the right decision to do. Given that Raish responds that he's proud that he made the decision, and the other one does leave contrived explanations. It is nice you give the option. I appreciate that. Pressing on.
We're going to go on to one that I really like, and is a very famous mission, if you know why. Creature of the Night.
This is probably one of my favorite missions in the game. Shadow War's up there too. This one, yeah, it's repetitive like most side missions where you have to inject the Man-Bat. His jump scare is iconic, of course. And the fact you find out how he was created is very creepy, where you go in and see the experiments and all that stuff in the videotapes and the dead body. And if you go... Yes?
Sorry, do you want to do the Easter egg? I know where you're going to say.
Whatever. After you go back into the room after you beat Man-Bat 3 times, you can see that the body's gone, and hinted that he left a comment in his messenger. Okay, what did he say?
I will say as well, the end of that mission is so sad because you have Kirk Langstrom realizing he's killed his wife.
Yeah,
it ends in a depressing way. I will say the only complaint I really have with it, you don't really do much game wise in terms of gliding, and there are obviously people that said would have liked a Man-Bat boss fight. I would have loved a Man-Bat boss fight.
Whatever.
He would have been cool.
That he captures Kirk, tells him what happened. He's sad about that. And if you go back to that location with the laboratory, you find that the body's gone, and it's hinted that Francine has transformed herself into She-Bat. Missed opportunity. She does not show up as a extra side mission, which they could have easily done just repainting the Man-Bat design, but they chose not to do that. Instead, what they chose to do instead was have Man-Bat break out on a certain day if you reset your game.
Yeah, if you play the game on Halloween, you'll get the Man-Bat jump scare again, and you go out to GCPD, you'll find that he has broken out of his cell.
Honestly, I think what should have happened is they should have had that, instead of being Man-Bat breakout, it should have been the She-Bat thing, and you could finish off that at least.
Yeah,
and then maybe you could have Kirk help as like an ally, and they finally get like a happy ending or something. I don't know. Because think about it. Let's say Kirk comes out, he develops a cure for She-Bat, then he injects himself with it too, so they're both cured, and they can have a happy ending. I'm just saying.
It would have been a lot happier in the ending. Next up, probably actually next to the other one, my favourite season of Infamy, Beneath the Surface.
That's the Croc mission.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not my favourite. It's kind of dull, and I think whatever.
Really? I love the mission.
The story of the game essentially is Croc's been transported on a blimp. The blimp crashes because Croc broke out, and you have to essentially rescue some hostages. But then you have to come across this laboratory. You need some key cards. You essentially go get the key cards and progress on, and you see that the warden has actually been experimenting with Croc to try and copy his regeneration ability. So essentially like a mad scientist. Croc doesn't like this and hates the warden because of it, and essentially you go in there, beat up Croc, and then the warden's like, "Oh, you're on my side." No, I'm not, because we don't like what you've done. And the real monster is the warden, essentially. But his punishment is he has to share a cell right next to Croc. So irony.
I love the vibes of the airship. It's so creepy, like obviously it gets really scary, and then obviously got to go and get the key cards, and once again it involves Nightwing. Can't go wrong with Nightwing. Also, if you do go through the prison, you see a cell for Gorilla Grodd as well. So Gorilla Grodd makes an appearance. Obviously, it's a supermax prison for other massive things.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, by the way, speaking of Easter eggs, actually, I don't know if I mentioned this, but remember how we talked about Shadow War of Easter eggs? There's actually a morgue cell with Talia al Ghul's name on it.
Yeah, and there's also a morgue cell for the waitress at the beginning of the game.
Who cares about that?
I do.
Fuck the waitress. But bear in mind, Talia's body is not in there, so it could be implied he has used it on her or has not.
I didn't know about the Talia one.
Regardless, though, Talia is not brought back in any way, so missed opportunity there. Fuck you, game. Why'd you do that? You should have just left the body there at least.
Keep her dead, bro. I don't care.
Moving on, after the Karok one, what's next?
I mean, they are pretty much. Actually, you know what? We'll leave it for last. Let's go to In From the Cold.
That is the Mr. Freeze mission.
Is that your favorite in the game?
It's one of the more heartfelt ones. Putting me so hard about it. You essentially go to this ship which is frozen in ice. You know who it's obviously going to be. You beat up some stealth goons. Go inside to see Mr. Freeze is trying to restore the machine that is helping Nora be alive. And he's once again revealed that everyone has to kidnap Nora to motivate Mr. Freeze. So they essentially took Nora in exchange for helping you kill Batman or whatever. He doesn't do it because he doesn't trust them, and instead he hands them a tracker device so he can hunt down Nora Freeze like in Arkham City. He finds her, and after some stealthing, he actually does something that you don't normally see, where he actually gets her out of the containment unit, which that's a very rare thing to happen. And she admits that she wants to live and not be in this condition anymore. So essentially, she just wants to die because she doesn't want to be inside that thing anymore. Eventually, she tells information to Freeze, and there's an explosion, and you can really sympathize for Freeze. He wants to save his wife, his love of his life, but all he's got, and the fact that she just wants to not be in that frozen state anymore, she just live the life that she has. And after a big explosion, they realize that they only have a few days, and that's sad for them. They get a sad ending. They get to retire and spend the last of their few days together, and it's kind of a bittersweet ending for him because we don't know how much he's got left with her. But Batman closes the case and doesn't chase after him at all. He just lets them go, and lets them have their peace.
A really nice ending, in all honesty.
It's debatable. It's a more happy ending compared to what he gets in Batman Beyond in that show.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Now there's only 2 more missions to talk about. Next one, Friend in Need.
What's that one?
Oh wait, actually I forgot. There's 3 more missions to talk about. Friend in Need is the infamous Hush mission.
Oh, be brave for my ass. You go to Wayne Manor.
Can I just explain some context for this mission real quick?
Fine.
Paul Dini's original vision for the game was to have Scarecrow and Hush as the main villains so they could follow on from the mission. But obviously the story went down, but they still could have used Hush really well, and we were all excited to see what Hush was going to do after Arkham City.
Yeah.
Well, this is what he's been reduced to, a 5-minute side mission, which a lot of people call the worst mission in the game.
That being said, though, a little setup for this one. In Arkham City, you essentially had that mission where there were these bodies that were being taken by Hush. He reveals that he's got the Bruce Wayne face, and this is more issue with Arkham Knight than it is City, but Batman lets this guy go into Gotham City with Bruce Wayne's face. And in Arkham Knight, it looks like he's kind of forgotten about that because he doesn't really bring it up at all. And by the time it does happen, it catches him off guard in a way. But whatever, he shows up, which is in a weird time to do this because you're in Gotham City, but you're in Gotham City at a point where there's Scarecrow and turmoil going on. So it kind of ruins it doesn't really. If you're trying to affect Bruce Wayne's image, it's not going to work when all the people aren't in it. Whatever. He gets Lucius gunpoint because he's trying to transfer some funds. Batman confronts him about his parents, but then he kind of figures out that Hush killed his own family on purpose because he felt entitled. But he tricks him to revealing that he's actually Bruce Wayne. Risky part in his move, but he's confident he can disarm him. He does, and then locks him in the vault until the identity is exposed to the world.
He also WWE smashes him through the desk.
He can buy another.
But to put it simply, for building Hush up to do this one side mission, it is very disappointing. I will say, though, the only reason why this is not my least favourite side mission, it's my second least favourite. I do like Hush's characterization. I do like his monologue. Obviously, Kevin Conroy is also performing as Hush. He does a great job. I just wish Hush, and as well as Asriel, just played much larger roles in Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight, to put it simply, it wastes opportunities. They waste a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. Next side mission?
Probably the most awkward one. Lamb to the Slaughter.
That's the Black... what's his name? Black Deacon. Something Deacon.
Deacon Blackfire.
Yeah, okay. Essentially, Jack Ryder's looking for this other cult guy. Whatever. He goes and tracks him down, gets to the flipping place where it's supposed to be, and Batman disrupts the sacred ritual and beats up some guys, turns off some generators, and disarms him. Mission over. Yeah, something like, who the hell's Deacon Blackfire? Like, Mr. That should have been the Hush mission. Make that the Hush. He's like the most forgettable villain ever, and you don't know who the hell he is. So why not have Hush take that place?
I think it would have been equally bad for Hush. But yeah, it's more of a challenge map than it is really a side mission.
Whatever.
The only good thing about it is that I do like Deacon's Blackfire's characterization. But apart from that, it's just awkward because this is at the time when you got to go to the clock tower and all that, and then it's just like, oh, here's a side mission. It's like, what?
Noted.
Deacon at the end is a very big character. So
next mission.
Technically the final mission, but we're putting them all together because they are basically the same mission.
So this mission you're about to read out is the last one we have to talk about, right?
Yeah, the militia missions, which is campaign for disarmament, own the roads, and it's something in the skies, which is basically the militia watchtowers.
Whatever.
Oh yeah, and you also have the intel, like the intel, not the intel. You have the what is it? The APCs, APCs, the trucks that you have to take out. Well, they're basically all the same. So
APCs, you drive around, blow them up, done. The own the roads is just like checkpoints near the roads. You go there, smash the communicators, done. The other one was essentially bombs, which I think the bomb one is the more fun of the lot, but the more challenging.
Yeah, campaign for disarmament.
You disarm all these bombs, all that shit, and then the final one is the watchtowers, disarm that shit. And during this, after you disarm everything in front of all that shit, your challenge is you get to fight Deathstroke in a tank.
Because Deathstroke becomes the new militia's commander. Which is a bit weird. Personally, I would have had Deathstroke be the commander from the beginning.
Which is also weird because Arkham Origins established he was going to be a Suicide Squad. If you're going to do this, you might as well just had something with Arkham on it. Whatever.
And then we get to probably the worst boss.
You get a repaint of the Arkham Knight Cloudburst fight, essentially. Beat a bunch of tanks, then fight his tank. And what should have happened is after he gets out the tank, you have this cool rerun of the Arkham Origins boss fight, but no, we don't get that shit. You don't get a master martial artist. No, you get him knocked out by Batman one punch, and he takes him away.
the fact that Riddler and Professor Pig got better boss fights than Deathstroke says a lot. And I can say I love Deathstroke in this game in terms of characterization and all that. They built him up, like in terms of the mission, and every time you defeat it, he says how much he's looking forward to it. I'm genuinely excited to fight him again. But literally, and by the way, you don't need to take out the other tanks. You can literally go straight up to Deathstroke's tank, start shooting at it. Just make sure you don't try and not get hit from the other tanks, and you can like defeat it in. I think it was under just under 30, just about 30
Yeah,
seconds.
bullshit, I'd say. What should have happened is, like I said, is that he should have gone up the tank. Okay, you can have the tank in it. Just have the flipping combat fight from Arkham Origins after he gets out the tank. But they didn't do that. There are a lot of incidences.
Sorry, it's frustrating as well when afterwards he's like, "You want to be a real man? Pull over, and we'll finish this." No joke.
He
I
had his
wanted to
chance,
do
he blew
that.
it.
I wanted to pull over, get Deathstroke out of the Batmobile, and fight him.
Nope. Sorry, this is not Origins. You had your chance, you blew it.
But the thing is, though, Deathstroke was a late addition to the game, and I feel like the actual boss fight at the end was meant to be for the militia commander, because obviously there's this militia commander guy that the Arkham Knight talks to throughout the game, but then obviously then it becomes Deathstroke. So I feel like that boss fight was originally meant to be for the militia commander.
Well, I'm happy it was Deathstroke.
Yeah, because it adds more character. I just wish we'd gotten. They know what he's known for. We should have gotten a fight, and the fact, like I said, that Riddler and Professor Pig had better boss fights than Deathstroke, it says a lot.
They did not want to incorporate the Arkham Origins boss fights in this game for some reason.
Firefly and Deathstroke were both done a bit dirty. Deathstroke definitely. Firefly was a bit done dirty.
And that's all the side missions done. The finale of the game we talked about. So I guess it's just left for character and combat, I believe. Right, and there's the episode too.
Oh yeah, the Arkham episodes.
But we'll just do that. The character. Okay, let's just go to the gameplay stuff. The world is big. 3 times. I think it's 5 times bigger than Arkham City. As I said.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are some missed opportunities with this, and what I'm saying about that is that you do not have the ability to fast travel in this game like Arkham Origins do. Missed opportunity 1. Number 2 is after the game, it would have been nice for you to revisit the old locations like Arkham Origins map and then the other 2 maps on Asylum City. But no, you don't get that either. So lazy opportunity there. I mean, what would you have done there? You could fight some people. I looked around, nice Easter eggs, and saw some of the stuff that Scarecrow was using. I don't know. There could have been some stuff, but missed opportunity there.
Mm-hmm.
The bright side is the map is huge. There's a bit to look at, but there you go.
Some people have complained how the more gothic-esque city of Gotham in the previous, in Arkham City, because it looked more like an actual city. Here, obviously, it's 3 islands, and especially Founders Island looks like a massive, obviously, construction.
The only thing I like about it is essentially when the Joker hallucinations happen, and the lightning flashes, you can see some little Joker thingies around.
To be honest, when you're gliding and the lightning strikes, it's always just such a cool moment.
It's also weird because Batman is flying while there's lightning and doesn't get struck.
He's Batman.
Gameplay-wise, you get a lot, really. The suit gets well upgraded, too. It has the traditional Arkham City mechanics, and you have the big move that I've talked about. The tank gets a lot of upgrades, expectedly so. The combat is more fluid and fast, so overall, it's everything you had in Arkham City, but it feels more smoother and faster. So overall, great stuff. You do get the freeze grenade. The freeze grenade you can pick up from the studios at any time you want. Same with the electric gun from Arkham City. Go to GCP, pick it up when you want.
Lucas, it's funny because I think we've come full circle. Your audio just went static.
Did it?
Yeah, it did.
Am I normal now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You were fine. How full circle we've come.
But yeah, it's gameplay sorted. So I guess we just have character left to do.
Just graphics, gorgeous. They really upgraded
It's PS4, it's expected.
from the others, and especially since like they made them more realistic. And this game came out in 2015. It looks better than some games like released like now.
Okay. Character now?
Yeah.
Batman. He's kind of flawed in this game. Per se. The excuse for why he behaves so differently and makes so many dumb decisions is due to the fact that he's infected with the Joker's blood and also the Scarecrow hallucinations. Is that justification enough for his poorly decision making?
Yes and no.
Okay.
There are times where he genuinely just makes some poor decisions.
Yeah, there are sometimes where the game likes to have its cake and eat it too, where it has to rely on the hallucinations or something about Batman to be an excuse. But when he says stuff like, "Oh, Barbara's dead," or "I saw Jason die," I'm sorry, Batman. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't remember who he's fighting against, what he's dealt with.
Hmm.
Anyway, though,
In terms of character, it probably is the weakest version of the
Dark Knight, I'm afraid so.
He's still awesome, obviously. Of course, he still has a great voice. Kevin Conroy still does a great job, but
In the other two games, he felt in character. He never felt like he was stupid or anything. He felt very like Arkham City. He was cool because he was able to figure out like Rachel Ghul can help me. I know this guy. He can help us. That was pretty cool because you didn't expect him to bring him up or anything like that. So that was cool. Arkham Asylum, he doesn't necessarily change, but essentially, no matter what's thrown at him, nothing breaks him, and I like that. But in this Arkham Knight, a lot of things break him down. Kind of takes the balls away from Batman a bit or whatever. But yeah, he essentially goes for an arc of the Joker, overcomes it, and as for the fear toxin, he somehow cures himself of that or weaponizes it, depending on that theory, whatever. So that's another thing. We know he's cured of the Joker thing, but he's never cured of the Scarecrow thing, is he? But somehow, apparently, they're one the same, because when he cures himself of the Joker virus, he's also cured of the fear toxin too, somehow, mentally, because we don't see Joker again.
I think the Joker thing was really, really fueled because of the fear toxin. It triggered it, I'd say.
It's also insanely elaborate, though. I don't like the fact they use mental excuses to cure him, because it contradicts some of Arkham City's events, and also, like, if that's the case, you could have done this a lot earlier. Whatever. Moving on to other characters, but overall, in shortness, what are your thoughts on the Dark Knight?
For his final outing, I'd say it's probably his worst version in the Arkham games, but he's still so cool. Like, you can't
Sure.
He's so
Speaking of, we'll go for the villains now, and we'll get Jason out of the way because we have a lot to say about him, but whatever. Jason's hard in this game. You could argue he's supposed to be the main villain in the game, or do you think it's more Scarecrow? I personally say Scarecrow's more the driver's seat.
Scarecrow, definitely. Can we... No, it don't matter. We'll talk about Jason.
Yeah, we are. Because I want to get Jason out of the way with because we have a lot to say about Jason before we couldn't, but now we can. So let's go with. Jason's motivation in this game essentially he wants revenge on Batman because he left him and forgot about him and all that shit, and Joker manipulated him to be his enemy. I don't know if he still hates Joker because he doesn't seem to be Joker's bitch anymore, at least. But yeah. And somehow he got himself an arsenal the size of Mount Rushmore to take out the Dark Knight. Where does this come from exactly?
Well, it said he was in South America, so I assume he probably went...
Where'd he get the money from it?
Exactly, who knows? That's the thing, though. It's mystery.
Fuck you. It's lazy is what it is.
I will say...
All I know is that the tie-in comics are supposed to explain how he gets all this money, but whatever.
But the tie-in comics are not always considered canon, though.
Anyway, though, he gets all this shit and thinks he knows Batman well. The one thing I don't understand, a lot of people have mentioned this, I'll say this right now. If you know Batman so well, why don't you strap people inside the tank so he doesn't kill them? Batman's no-kill rule. Hello? No? Look at that shit. And his excuse is, the reason why I don't put people in these tanks, they don't show fear. They don't show weakness. Okay? That's why he uses robots. Because bugs show fear. Then why do you have human thugs then, if that's the case?
Do you mind if I give what I think of him, to be honest.
I don't think I have any more to say. The only thing cool about Arkham Knight is the design, the suit. I just wish it was a different person. I'm saying.
Yeah, the suit itself is very nicely designed. I do like it.
And when, and speaking of Batman, when he figures out these hallucinations of Jason, he should have really figured it out. Whatever, fuck that shit. Regardless, though, that's all I want to say on Jason. I don't think there's anything else I want to bring up about him. The audio tapes are
Jason-
cool with the Oracle thing, but yeah.
Jason Todd. Okay. There's a few things I want to say, but to put it simply, if they were to have the Arkham Knight character, I don't think it shouldn't have been Jason.
Yeah,
Because
I've got my
what-
own thing about that.
Because one, Jason has never even been mentioned in the past Arkham games,
Apart from the challenge map.
but one. I was getting to it. But one line from a challenge map that Joker says, being like, "Didn't I already kill you?" Apart from that, Jason has had no other mention in the Arkhamverse. So, to my knowledge, Jason Todd is dead and does not exist. Next up, obviously, we could have had an amazing story with Scarecrow and Hush, but that was pushed for this. I will never forgive them for, they could have had Hush in a really good role. They pushed him out for Jason Todd. Second, his identity is so obvious. If you haven't already figured it out, the Panessa Studios flashbacks, hallucinations, 100% confirm it. The amount of streamers, the amount of gamers I have seen reacting to Jason Todd's reveal and the words, "I knew it," or "of course," or "we all saw it coming," was mentioned, that just says to me, if we figured it out, then definitely, even non-Batman fans that decide to just play it.
That just makes it more stupid. The fact that we figured it out as the audience, but Batman can't, because fuck you.
But that's the thing, though. It's not even a good, plot twist, because we've already figured it out. It's a bad plot twist. And third, he wants revenge on Batman, yes. But during his fight, he is he is a bit of a whiner. I get it. He spent a year in Arkham Asylum being tortured by the Joker, which is horrible. I get it. He has been through so much. That is a horrible thing to do. But still, he whines like a little kid, and it's like it just gets it's laughable. And I feel so bad laughing at him, obviously, because of the things he's been through. But it's just what's the point?
Noted.
But yeah, overall, I personally think if they were to have the Arkham Knight, if they are going to keep the Arkham Knight, have it be Hush.
I was going to pick someone else, but whatever.
Someone did a rewrite of where Bruce is in a fight with the Arkham Knight. The mask comes off. Batman is looking at Bruce Wayne. That would be a shock. That would be a genuine.
That would raise questions, though. Like, how the hell would Hush know he's the Dark Knight?
No, but Scarecrow obviously can use him to frame Bruce Wayne.
Because I think it's contrived, because you have to find some sort of elaborate reason for Hush to figure out he's Bruce, the Dark Knight.
I do think anyone but Jason would have been better.
I have my own theory. It's kind of elaborate, but I can explain if you want me to.
If you want to, then yeah.
Well, instead of having if you want the Arkham Knight to be someone who knows it's the Dark Knight, there is another loophole you can get around this. And it's kind of an elaborate plan of my shit, but it'll make sense. First, you have to bring back a certain character that can be brought back to life. The reason why
are you saying Talia?
I just said one thing. I didn't go with it. The reason why I picked this person, because the whole reason why I'm going off was I'm trying to pick someone that you wouldn't suspect. So I picked this person. And the motivation for this person is essentially, that's the thing I kind of leaked on really, is that originally I was going to say anarchy because of his whole tirade rant, but then I felt like he wouldn't be good enough because he had to also figure out who Batman is.
Hear me out. Prometheus.
Whatever. Anyway,
Speaking of which, I'm surprised Anarchy actually isn't in this game because the whole thing is about rioting and all that. Anarchy, like a thug literally says, "Where's that guy Anarchy? He'd be loving this." Yeah,
Yeah, I
where
know.
is Anarchy?
Yeah, I thought that was supposed to be red herring from Fuck that shit. It's completely forgotten about. Probably was supposed to happen, but they cut it.
Anarchy matured into the Arkham Knight.
But yeah, so what I have done is essentially have a character back to life from the Lazarus pit, but not, and that character would have been told who Batman is by Hugo Strange before he died, and Protocol 11 was not just a bomb; it's also a plan to set up this like Winter Soldier character, which is the Arkham Knight, and it turns out to be a person revived from the Lazarus pit, and who would have been to be an unsuspecting twist. You have any guesses who would have picked?
Talia?
Nope. You would never suspected this character, and I got you because I'm awesome. It is Penelope Young. Yeah, you like who? You don't forget who Penelope Young was?
No, it's not. I didn't forget who she is. It's just that Penelope Young as the Arkham.
No, simple. Have Hugo Strange, put some stuff in her to mind controller, and there you go. And it also makes sense. Think about it. Hugo Strange has the money.
This isn't a joke. You're being serious?
You don't like
Dr.
it?
Young?
What's the wrong? Look, it's not the person. It just makes sense because it's not like you could have made the Arkham Knight anyone as long as the reason makes sense. But the reason why she's against Batman in this is that Hugo Strange could have mind controlled her and all that stuff, like the Winter Soldier. Because I was just going all like to have like the character you wouldn't expect.
It's clever in having a character you don't expect, but come on, Dr. Young?
What's wrong with that?
The final big villain, the Doctor that died all the way back in Arkham Asylum.
Well, what would you have done? Have Hugo Strange be the one who took the Lazarus pit and have that shit?
No, I would have like I said, I either wouldn't have any Arkham Knight and have it be Scarecrow and Hush, or I'd have Hush be the Arkham Knight, or Prometheus.
Or you could have it be Quincy Sharp. That's the thing.
Oh god, Quincy Sharp.
Regardless, my point is though is that all these fan theories, all these ideas, even the ones I had, like having like Penelope Young be mind controlled by Hugo Strange, is more interesting, more surprising than Jason Todd. And like that, any idea can work if you write the story well.
It'd be a funny finale, I would say.
Yeah, but if the story is well written, you can grow to like it.
It would be enjoyable, I would say.
And the whole reason why I went for that is because it's a nice reference to the Mask of the Phantasm, where that story also revealed that the Mask of the Villain is also a woman. Because everyone keeps assuming the Arkham Knight is a man.
We might as well have the Phantasm. But yeah.
Anyway, though. That's all I want to say about the Arkham Knight's twist. The Scarecrow, I'm going to wrap this up quickly because there's a lot of stuff I've got to do. Scarecrow, be brief. He gets shafted kind of in this game. He just keeps taunting the Dark Knight. Doesn't really get a chance to get close to him. He does release his fear toxin, but every time he does, it gets foiled by Batman and the overall shit.
I will say though, character-wise, I prefer John Noble who voiced him. I prefer Arkham Knight Scarecrow compared to Arkham Asylum Scarecrow. Arkham Asylum Scarecrow's art was better, yes. But in terms of voice, his new design is awesome. He is way scarier than he was in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
So they really it's like in BTAS, like with the new Batman Adventures, when they give him that new zombified, creepy look.
Whatever. Essentially, though, he goes around, he fails to be the Dark Knight twice. He doesn't want revenge on Crocodile, waste opportunity. He wants revenge on Batman.
We don't get a boss fight.
No, we don't.
Except in the Scarecrow challenge thing, where you can go around and shoot him with the Batmobile. But yeah,
after the
villain doesn't get a boss fight.
He tries to all he does is manipulate Jim, and then manipulate has Barbara hostage. But Batman overcomes it pretty quickly, and then he's essentially led into an ultimatum move. But Batman finds a way out of it thanks to contrived reasons of the story and is able to beat Scarecrow, and Scarecrow come in like a fool. I felt like he wasn't as done as intimidating as the one in Asylum, when you think about it.
I would say he's more intimidating than one of
Yeah, but presence-wise, but as in actions, he did more in Asylum than he did here. Because in this, every time he does something, he gets pushed back.
Yeah, I said that. That's what I said. His arc in Asylum was better, but in terms of he was scarier in Arkham Knight. I think he was better in Arkham Knight than he was in Arkham
Yeah, but
Asylum.
when you stop him all the time, that kind of takes away some of his dread, doesn't it?
No, but he feels a bit more calculating.
Next up, I think the only characters left of any development are the Gordons, really. There is also Joker, but it's just essentially him taunting. It's not really a character at all. So Gordon's Jim is well handled. I think I like how he's done. He's probably my second favorite of Gordon because I'm always nostalgic to Gordon because he's such a badass. But this one's like a well developed one. Barbara, she gets a bit in her say, and she does reassure Bruce that they're fighting with him, not for him. So there is that little warmth connection there. Not much to be said, but a bit of there.
And then the rest of the characters are just the villains and all the
Tim
other
Drake
bits.
essentially just leverage for each. Either he's not allowed to be in this game, or he's leveraged to motivate the plot.
Which is one thing I will say of the game overall. Another complaint is that for the final game, I wish the Bat family had been involved a lot more.
Well, not now. We don't want you. Stay here. You're going elsewhere.
They get shafted quite a bit in this game. The only one I really enjoyed in this game was Nightwing, but
well, and also a missed opportunity. They could have offered you beat Riddler. You don't get the opportunity to play as Catwoman or Switcher like in Arkham City. Fuck you. Okay. So what's the whole point then? Whatever.
I mean, you get Catwoman's revenge, but that's the Arkham episode, obviously.
Nightwing also gets the same treatment. He gets they get a bit like how we used to be a good team and all that shit. Too bad you're never going to work together after this. Fuck you. So what's the whole point?
The villains are basically
101.
just themselves, in all honesty. I mean, Harley's voice is now way more Timmy Turner than ever, but that's Tara Strong.
I do like her design. It's probably the best of the three, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. I really like her design in Arkham Knight because, like I said, I think it actually combines.
It is.
The two. You have like her skirt from her nurse in Asylum, and then you have
combine the two suits, really.
The black and red from Arkham City, which I really liked.
Yeah, it's just a combination.
She's also no, never mind. I'm not going to go into that. Never mind.
All right, that's all the characters done. So all that's left essentially would be Arkham episodes. We did talk about the Penguin, so it's the same. Like I said, he's treated the same way as Two-Face. So I'm not going to go over him. But overall, it's time for the Arkham episodes, and we'll wrap it up there.
So to put it simple,
there's 4 of them, right?
I think there's 5.
Can you be brief with these because I want to end this?
Okay. Matter of Family, the longest one and arguably the best one. It takes place during Barbara's career as Batgirl, where you go to this abandoned amusement park because Joker and Harley have got Gordon and some other cops captive. She and Robin, being Tim Drake, go to save them, which is a bit sad because when you think about it, I think it would have made more sense had it been Jason Todd's Robin, especially with him being a big part in the game, to have him, as Robin so we can see him. But anyway, you go through the amusement park, you do these different puzzles, you get a good boss fight, actually quite a good boss fight with a duel one against Harley and Joker. Joker escapes, you free Gordon, Harley gets arrested. Batgirl is obviously, applauded by Gordon, who does not recognize his own daughter, and the DLC ends. It's a solid DLC, it has some nice Easter eggs, a very dark backstory of the amusement park with the father and his daughter.
Yeah.
But yeah, personally, it's my favourite. I really enjoy it.
No.
Catwoman's Revenge. Basically, Catwoman, you go into Riddler's factory because you want to get all the money. You want to basically hack into Eddie's bank account and get all his money. But you have to go through his thugs and you also have to fight his robots to get to the money. In a very
frustrating.
In an annoying combat section, to say the least. It's an alright section, not bad. Harley Quinn, this takes place before the game, and it says how Harley was able to break Ivy out of GCPD. You play as Ivy, Penguin communicates, it's fun. You hear the voices in Harley's head, which is Harleen. So that was a nice touch. But apart from that, you then have the boss fight against Nightwing, which makes no sense that Harley beats Nightwing, but it basically is there to explain how Harley broke Ivy out for the events of Arkham Knight. So it's whatever. In terms of characterization, it's not anything off, but yeah. GCPD lockdown. Nightwing is basically stopping Penguin's thugs from breaking Penguin out of GCPD. You get to work with Lucius Fox. It's a really fun thing. You go through different levels, which I hated this the first time I played it, but I do actually like it. It's alright. And then it ends with Penguin getting to the top and then returning him back to GCPD. Flip of a coin. Tim and Barbara have had to come back from their honeymoon because Two-Face is committing a crime in Gotham, which is a very big complaint because why do they have to come back off of their honeymoon for a crime in Gotham? You have Nightwing, you have, you have Nightwing in the city. Surely he can, take care of things, but apparently not.
And you also have Nightmare Batman in the city.
Yeah. You have Barbara questioning Tim because now he's starting to sound like Bruce, which is a development that goes nowhere. You get to fight, not fight, but beat up Two-Face, and it's simply a one and done. And then we get to the final one, which is the Red Hood one, which is the second best one, which is I don't know why they didn't make it longer. Jason has now assumed the identity of the Red Hood, and he's going around and he is after Black Mask. Yes, Black Mask is back in this game. And he goes around interrogating his thugs. Jason is a very fun character to play as. And then he confronts Black Mask at the end in a boss fight, which is actually quite good. He grabs Black Mask and kicks him out the window, assumingly killing him. However, there's a theory that says that it's not Roman Sionis because in this DLC, Black Mask has the same look as he did in Arkham Origins, but obviously in Arkham City he had the mask grasped to his face. So there's a theory, like it was mentioned in Arkham Origins, that he sent in a double to confront Red Hood.
Fair point.
And it ends like that. Those are all the Arkham episodes. Overall, they're decent. Some are good, but some are just like, you don't need to play them. They could have been done better.
And now you think we've done everything in the review, right?
Yeah, except there's only one last thing to do.
Yeah, Arkham
Before
VR
we
and
finally wrap up.
The flipping other Arkham games we're not going to discuss about. So give your brief thoughts on the three of them and end it.
Arkham Origins Blackgate is basically Penguin, Black Mask, and Joker have taken over Blackgate, and Batman has to go do it. Has to take down the three Kingpins. You get to fight Deadshot, Solomon Grundy for some reason, and Bronze Tiger. So mention.
And now for the other three.
It also obviously introduces Batman's. It's his first meeting with Catwoman.
Whatever.
So it's that dynamic. But that game followed on the Suicide Squad storyline, which went nowhere. And the only Arkham VR is basically Batman just doing some crimes in VR, but it takes place for Arkham Knight, where it hints that he's been haunted by the Joker. And in Arkham Shadow, Batman has to stop the mysterious coup on the 4th of July with their leader, the Rat King. To do that, he believes the Rat King is in Blackgate, so he has to go undercover as Matches Malone. So it's nice to have Matches actually, in this game. He infiltrates Blackgate to investigate. Whilst there, stuff happens. He comes across Harleen Quinzel, Jonathan Crane, Lyle Bolton, and also the ventriloquist and Scarface, as well as Joe Chill, the thug who obviously killed his parents. Things happen. Harvey Dent gets his signature Two-Face look. He stops Crane. Harleen Quinzel, obviously, there's a deeper bond to Joker. He also infiltrates Falcone, and it ends with Harvey becoming Two-Face, threatening to kill Joe Chill, but Batman reveals himself as Bruce. He catches Harvey, and they fall off a building, But Harvey loses his memory.
Like the Arkham
No.
Origins ship.
Like that. Although there is a better theory that they suggest that Two-Face knows the identity, but Harvey doesn't. It's actually quite clever. And it ends with, but there is a little thing where it ends with Batman actually adopting young Dick Grayson, who was actually a member of the Rat Cult. So there's a bit of a difference in terms of his origin. They do have the Flying Graysons in it, obviously. They do mention his origin, but they do say that after that he became part of the Rats. It's a very good story. It's the only Arkham game that treats Two-Face and Harvey Dent really well, which, by the way, spoilers, but it is revealed that the Rat King is none other than Harvey Dent himself. It
Yeah.
has a great story, very unique. It continues Origin's story well, and it's a very good, once again, another prequel game to Batman.
No, it is. Right. Good
Oh!
stuff. That's it.
That is it. But-
Comments I did check those, so we're fine. We're all caught up.
What were they? Do you have any?
Darkside, I read his. Jay said something, I read it, and then Adam read a bunch of comments, and I read those.
They will never be Arkham City's comments.
No, it won't be.
But
Yeah.
there you go, Lucas. That's all. That's all the
Games
games.
are all done. It's been fun giving our thoughts to them finally, officially. I know Jack here is going to be replaying Arkham Knight because of what I've said about it.
Mm,
So look out for those little winks here and there about Copperhead and Mandap. So hopefully you can remember those.
mm.
As for me, I will. It depends when I feel in the mood to revisit those games. So yeah, overall, it's been nice to revisit them, and I've got a place to
But
be. But
oh
overall,
wait.
What?
What is your final score for Arkham Knight?
I'll go 6.
I would say 6.5. I think it is the gameplay value that
Yeah,
keeps
it's
it
more of a
coming
good
back.
game than it's a shit story.
But to rank them from worst to best for me, it's Knight, Asylum, City, and Origins.
City's my favorite. I already know that Origins might be second because of the same development, but I toss up between Origins and Asylum. Asylum has better presentation. Origins has advanced gameplay, so I'm going to say Asylum second right now. Mine, Brian.
Well, we
God.
agree that Knight is last. But I will
that's
say,
right,
despite the criticisms, it is still a good game. But it is easily the weakest for me out of the
That's
three.
the thing I want to
before
bring
I
before we wrap up this. There is the whole thing. Do you think Bruce Wayne and Alfred killed themselves in that explosion? I don't think they did.
No.
Well, I believe it was Calendar who killed them. If someone did kill him, because Cameron was in the crowd.
Oh, it was Calendar Man.
Because you believe that Nightmare Batman is actually the real Batman, and Alfred are just going on the mysterious crap, right?
Yeah, we could say that.
I'm going to believe that Batman is killed and it was by Calendar Man, but that explains what the Nightmare Batman thing is something entirely different.
Mm.
That's what I'm going to go
Who
with.
knows?
But yeah, that's it. That's what I want to say. Thank you, Jack, for being with us on this adventure of the Arkham reviews.
Thank you
Fine,
so
well.
much for having me, Lucas. It's been a pleasure.
Maybe at some point in the future we'll do the Spider-Man ones. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, thank you, Jack. I'm going to wrap it because I'm going to end this really briefly because we've been on for nearly 2.5 hours. It's enough as it is. Thanks everyone for stopping by. And for
Thank
me
you,
and Jack,
everyone.
we're signing out.
Peace out, guys.